This is Comic Geek Speak, episode 1801, Previews!
And music? Come on, music. That's when you know your head's not in the game, when you got to get the music up. Here we go. Come on, come on, come on. We got this, we got this, we got this, and go! Welcome to Comic Geek Speak. I'm Ian Levinstein.
I'm Adam Murdo.
And I'm Chris Everly.
Professionalism right out the window. Welcome one and all to the show. It's episode 1801. We are past our milestone, and those of you who have not listened to Uncle Sal's 1800 extravaganza, boy oh boy do you have an episode to listen to. Go ahead and do that when you get a chance. I've never laughed so hard.
That was a damn good time.
Yes, it was. And we continue the streak of returning guests and returning favorites. Those of you on video have already had it spoiled, but the one, the only, Dave Dwonch is with us here for previews tonight. Dave, how you doing, man?
Welcome, sir.
Oh my God, so good to be back. It's been quite some time. It almost feels like there was like an apocalypse or pandemic between the last time and this time.
First off, I have no idea what you're talking about. Clearly, but yeah, man. I mean, like looking at our archives here, I think the last time you were on was another previews episode 1633.
Oh my God.
From 2016.
I mean, that was so long ago. I don't even remember what I was trying to sell then. That's how bad that was. Jesus.
The only thing the description says is previews. We go through the December catalog for items shipping to stores beginning in February 2017, and it includes a visit from our old buddy Dave Dwonch. So nice. you could have been pimping anything.
Oh, and this episode I will be pimping everything. This is a good preview.
Yes. Damn right, man. You're damn right, and we're looking forward to it. Dave's gonna go ahead and just join us for previews, and once we get to Dark Horse, we'll have a little bit of an extended time with Dave as we go ahead and go further into what he is putting out, and also has an upcoming Kickstarter. So yeah, we got everything, and the Kickstarter's running now, correct?
Oh yeah, it is a source of stress in my family life for sure. It's like I'm watching water boil for 28 days. It's awful.
Well, check that pot every now and then. You really don't want the place to burn down. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
And refresh my memory, your podcast came back for a short time during the pandemic, right?
I feel like we did it because we were bored and we missed each other's faces, and we discovered Zoom. And we were always like the podcast we were always doing. The sound, we had sound issues, we had video issues, and then with Zoom streamlining everything, it worked out well. We're still alive, I guess. The Geek Savants are there, but for some reason these last few weeks we just haven't had a chance to get together. I wonder why. I know. I'm the dumbest creator on the planet, because who decides that they're going to try and promote two books at the same time? Like, who did I think I was? It's awful. I'm like really bad at this. So yes, forgive me for being terrible.
Hey, come on, man. I mean, well, please. That just means that you have even more to talk about on an episode. That's why we have you on. Mm-hmm. And we'll get the Dark Horse. That's fine. And then after that, just go ahead and slip yourself in, and we'll talk more about everything. Because that's
all right. I'm gonna go native. I'll go native, and we'll just talk comics. It'll be good. I can't wait till we get to Marvel and DC.
Oh my God, yes. And before we get started, just as usual, a reminder that we are sponsored by you, the listeners, over at patreon.com/comicgeekspeak. Looking at our current numbers, we're up to 93 patrons and $279 per month. you keep the lights on, people, and again, you make the lights that much brighter for all of us as we have better equipment coming in and all that jazz, and just making it a better experience for all of you. So we thank you very much for your continued
Here,
patronage
here.
and your continued support. Patreon.com/comic-geek-speak. And just to bring this up, old school donations still exist. So if you're one of those guys who doesn't want to go over to Patreon and would rather support the show the old school way with PayPal, that still exists. We had a very generous donation a little bit ago from someone who was asking, like, is it okay if we just continue to do PayPal because I don't want to join Patreon? I'm like, yeah, no, sure, do your thing. So if you do prefer the old school donation, the button is still there on the website. If you go to the donation tab, and you can follow the instructions there. So either way supports the show. So don't forget that. All right, let's get these previews rolling, and you get to see the benefits. Any of you on the video, as I go ahead and try to get the PDFs up and rolling here.
Oh, and while you're working on that, Ian, can I make one more preliminary announcement here?
Yes, please go right ahead.
We're working on the Comic Geek Speak Best of 2020 awards right now. We're hoping to present the final slate of nominees sometime in the upcoming weeks. It's not too late for those of you listening to take part in this process. If you just head on over to Comic Geek Speak, the comicforums.vanillacommunity.com, or to our page on Facebook, the Comic Geek Speak Supergroup, you can find the complete list of all 16 categories in which we're taking nominations and instructions on how to nominate and have your voice heard in this year's awards. So far, the voter turnout has been a little bit light, so I'm urging all of you folks out there, if you have any opinions about comics of the last year, it's a much more entertaining show when lots of people participate. So please do get the vote out.
Can I mail in my ballot is the question.
Please send a self-addressed stand-up envelope to
320 Hindle Street.
Yeah, no, best of at comicgeekspeak.com. I'm sorry, no mail-in ballots and no CODs.
All right.
I'm not going to turn away mail-in ballots. As long as I get them before midnight on Sunday, February 21st, it's going in.
Yeah, and we'll see how many ballots we have, and worst comes to worst, at the most we will extend it a week. But if that is the case, we'll let you guys know. But I'll be promoting it again on both the Supergroup and on the main Comic Geek Speak website. And we'll see if we can get some more turnout in there, because I've been putting my votes together, and I'm looking forward to talking about it on the episode. I think it's going to be a very, very good time.
And as always, salute to Murd for doing a wonderful job organizing this event every year. It's a touchstone.
No, it's my pleasure, Chris. It's a duty and a pleasure.
Absolutely. All right, so we begin with previews. This is number 389 for February of 2021. Preview's own website doesn't have their number right, because I think they forgot that they skipped a couple of due to the pandemic, because you click on it, it says 391, and then you actually open it, it says 389. So yeah, it's number 389 for February 2021. Coming out, books coming out in the month of April. So very good there, as I scroll down past the 800 advertisements and we get ourselves over to Image. And
so many ads, by the way. I was like, what happened to comics?
I feel that way every single month as I scroll through this PDF version, until you actually get to the first image. That is page 32. They start after promotions and advertisements. But what a way to start off Image, though. Jeff Johns and Gary Frank over at Image. That happened. Didn't even know this book was coming out until I flipped through previews. Geiger #1, one of the most critically acclaimed, combos of creators in comics. The accidental alliteration there, I'll go ahead and take it. Return for another series, and this time not with DC, with Image.
Yeah, the publisher is the most unexpected part of this, frankly. And
Did-
it's a creator-owned concept this time around.
Yep.
And I mean, it's you can still sort of see the DC DNA in here. If you look up at the top border at the
Yes.
Silver Age go-go checks up there.
Good point,
This-
Murd. Good point. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a concept that's kind of born of classic Cold War atomic age paranoia. It's a tale of a lone wanderer of the radioactive wastes in a post-apocalyptic future. It is kind of a classic science fiction mid 20th century concept, but it's going to get that Johns and Frank twist, and I'm kind of looking forward to it.
Yeah. Same here. I mean,
Anything Gary Frank draws, I'm interested in.
oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I kind of love just in general, the old school, 60s name of Meltdown Man.
Joe Glow, the Meltdown Man. Yeah.
Do we know if this is a miniseries or is it an ongoing? It doesn't say, does it?
No.
It never
no.
does anymore,
It
Dave.
never does anymore?
It just says an atomic new series. So I'm going to guess ongoing. Because Image itself is usually pretty good about putting the number one, of 6 if it's, unlimited.
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. I'm getting the picture that nowadays it's a limited series unless the sales figures are strong, in which case suddenly, hey, it's an ongoing.
Yeah.
It's a comic, so it's an implied miniseries. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Right.
But I'm just gonna guess that with names attached like Frank and John's, unless they themselves get too busy, it's probably going to be an ongoing. But who the heck knows? We'll find out soon enough. Either way, look at this freaking gorgeous landscape here. For those of you watching the video right now on page 34. Yeah, I cannot wait to see what this is going to be like. It looks really interesting, and I just like to see anything that Johns and Frank are working on. So this is going to be pretty damn good stuff. And then as the comes out on page 36, it must be Greg Rucka.
Do you not like Rucka? Do you love Rucka? Do you hate Rucka?
No, that's like my geeky orgasmic.
Oh, okay.
You'll get used to it.
I mean, it sounded like excitement and then exhaustion, and I was
Exhausted by my excitement.
Okay, there you go. You
My
drink.
advanced middle age.
Yeah, I love Greg. He's great.
Oh yeah, no, he's fantastic. And the old guard tales through time, number 1 of 6, actually pointing out it's a miniseries, so we'll give him that. With Leonardo Fernandez on the art.
So I've talked about the series many times on the air. Netflix did a fantastic adaptation, which makes sense because Ruck actually wrote the adaptation, which ensured that it was actually good.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're going to do a sequel, I would imagine. But if you're not familiar with the concept, it's about a very close-knit group of virtually immortal warriors who they can die, but they just never know how and when. So they can live it potentially for centuries and centuries. And just this is an anthology series about following them in through different periods of time. So this is a no-brainer concept for this book. I'm really looking for, and look at the roll call of glory when it comes to creators working on this.
Yeah, I'm actually really stoked on this one too. My buddy, he's my brother from another mother, Justin Greenwood, who did Stumptown with Greg. He and I grew up in the same town. We had the same birthday. We're like 2 or 3 years apart. But he used to come into my comic shop when I was a manager, and he would be like, "Hey, I draw comics. Do you want to work on something with me?" And I'd be like, "Get away from me, child!" And because I was like, I don't know, 18, but when you're 18 and someone's 15, they are tiny. And then he showed me his portfolio, and I was like, wow, I really have to work with this guy. I got to work with him once, and then he's been working with Greg on a bunch of stuff. It's great. It's good to see him working on this book.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, just concept art and the little, connecting variant on this. Like, I got to read some Old Guard. I have not read it. I haven't seen the movie yet. But I clearly have to, just even looking at all this stuff.
Ian, I would never steer you wrong, my friend.
I know that by now, sir. Yep. All right. Over to page 38 and Henry Barajas and Ramat Handoko putting out something that
Henry's another good friend. This was a Kickstarter. Henry, I know
sweet.
from LA, my short time in LA, but he is a great guy, and he did an autobiography about a biography about his grandfather was the last book he did. I'm really glad he's getting into his fantasy story here at Image. When something goes to Kickstarter, you don't know where it's going to end up, but man, it hit Image. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, that is really cool, and I mean, like, it looks straight out of World of Warcraft. Just looking at it, like these designs are like perfectly, rendered in that fashion. And just looking at the description here, kind of like throwing in like a whole Mexican bent on the fantasy, like that's it's pretty damn cool, and a concept that may very well wind up, hopefully springboarding into something even bigger. Who the heck knows? So. That's on page 38 there. And once again, it's Helm Grey Castle, number 1 of 4. Also pointing it out again. So, yeah, no, these preview pages are golden. Yeah, I'm totally interested. I just started another D&D campaign like 2 weeks ago. So now I'm like back in the fantasy riff for myself. So this is gonna be.
Are you the dungeon master, sir?
I am not. I don't think I actually have enough experience to be one yet, but I may start my own.
Because I could see you being a capable dungeon master.
Yeah, I just need to actually put the effort and the time in. All right, what else we got over at Image?
See, I remember when D&D wasn't cool. I'm like of that age, and so now I have friends that try to trick me into D&D, and I feel like I'm being like catfished into something. I have never played D&D. I don't know.
I mean, I didn't start playing until I was in my 30s, and it's it's a lot of fun. It really is, and like part of me is like I really should have started doing this when I was 12. And then I probably would be a dungeon master by now because I would have been playing as long and gotten into the history of it. So
yeah, Dave, I've tried several times to get into D&D campaigns, but fate has always conspired against me. And whatever group I tried to join either breaks up or just loses interest or whatever before I
You're the Yoko Ono of D&D, sir.
I'm a cursed artifact.
I was just gonna say, clearly you didn't roll well enough, Murd.
Oh, there's that borscht belt. I was counting on that once an episode at least. Attaboy.
Yes. Try the veal. How about this? David Hine and Brian Haberlin on page 42, Jules Verne's Lighthouse.
So is this new fresh up and comer Jules Verne? Is this their first comic book?
Yeah. Up and comer David Hine, never heard of him, and Brian Haberlin, never heard of him. No, this looks like it's going to be really cool. And I haven't really seen anything from David Hine lately that I can think of. So yeah, tackling a Jules Verne property like this is unexpected and immediately has me interested.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Should be pretty cool. Page 42 on that one. And the preview page is also on following very lovingly rendered artwork and a very cool looking robot with a perplexed / indifferent grin on his face. That's forever plastered on there. So I'm down with that. Why not?
That's one sweet ass 2-eyed penis robot.
Don't be a dick. All right. Page 44. Yep.
Yep.
I had you at Zdarsky.
Yep. I don't even care what this is about. I mean, he's writing it.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Well,
the silver
writing the
coin.
first issue anyway.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Good point. Yeah, but Chip Zdarsky, Kelly Thompson, Ed Brisson, and Jeff Lemire all together on a horror anthology miniseries. That is some pedigree.
That is the table that you want to hang out at a con bar, right? That's a great group of people.
Oh my God, absolutely, yeah. And I'm happy that more anthologies are coming out more than anything else. I feel like they sort of fell off for a little bit, and they're kind of like having a second renaissance of late. And yeah, I'm digging it. Absolutely.
Yeah, we can look forward to that Black Hammer anthology we've been talking about.
Yes, indeed. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And when we do our next comic talk, I'll have read 1 through 5 of Stillwater, so I can talk about that as well.
Excellent. Yeah. Once again, this was on page 44, 1 of 5 of a new miniseries, Zdarsky and Michael Walsh on the first issue, and then from there, other creators tackling it further on the anthology end.
That looks so good.
Yes, it does. All right. What else we got, gentlemen?
I just wanted to point out on page 51 that Monstrous is returned to the floppy format, and I've been reading in trade, so I'm almost caught up to these particular issues, and I know I'm very late to this party, but this series is awe-inspiring.
Oh, it's excellent. Yeah.
So if you haven't picked up Monstrous, all the trades are all out there. If you love fantasy, and I can't even do it justice in just this quick little blurb, and the art is absolutely breathtaking. So some of the most beautiful fantasy art I've seen in the comic in really my lifetime.
Yep.
So
speaking of other books that you love, Brian K. Vaughan has been hinting that it's coming back soon. So Saga will come back before we're dead. I 100% guarantee it'll be out sometime within the next millennia.
It's Vaughn. I have confidence. It's not like saying you think the Jets are going to win the Super Bowl before you die or anything like that. Like Saga will return.
Well, that's an actual impossibility. So yeah.
Yeah, but never say never. I thought Tampa Bay would have never won a Super Bowl, and then they got a Tampa Brady up in there, and that's all it took.
Oh my God. It was a terrible game too.
Oh my God. I couldn't even sit through the commercials. I was so bored by the whole thing, man. So I'll see all these commercials tomorrow online. Ugh.
Yeah. The best part was the weekend and the fact that they released that trailer for Winter Soldier and Falcon. So
right.
Yeah.
All right. I'll mention in passing on page 53, Commanders in Crisis Volume 1, The Action. It's Steve Orlando with a nice superhero story coming out. Collects all 6 issues of the series, and that's on page 53. All about the last survivors of the multiverse. I know we mentioned this in when it was initially solicited, and they had me at multiverse, so I have to make sure to pick this up because it's Commanders in Crisis.
Yes. Keyword.
Exactly.
Ian, on page 54, I had missed this Jonathan Hickman series, Decorum.
Yeah.
Collects issues 1 through 8.
I had missed it. I think we might have mentioned it in passing. I'm not sure how long ago this came out initially, but scheduled for release in May, by the way. So this is a advanced solicit for it. But it's a hardcover collection of the first 8 issues of it, and only a black and white cover to go with. But gorgeous illustration.
I'm positive we talked that up when it was first solicited. I think the solicitation blur was exactly the same for the first issue as it is for this volume.
There you go. Yep. There are many assassins in the known universe. This is the story of the most well-mannered one. How polite. I'll kill you now, please.
If it's not terribly inconvenient.
Yes. Yeah. Decorum on page 54. Decorum. Alrighty.
I
have nothing else for Image myself, gentlemen. What about you?
Mm-hmm.
I have one, and it was on page. It's actually a 3rd issue, but I know you guys probably haven't seen any previews for it. But Stray Dogs. My buddy Tony Fleece. It's his book. It's basically about a kind of a Hannibal style serial killer that takes dogs as trophies. Like he kills the owners and steals the dogs, and it's all told from their point of view. So, and it's drawn like a Disney, almost 101 Dalmatians, but it's like completely psychotic. He already got it optioned, and I've seen the first issue, and it's amazing. It's so good.
Nice. Yeah, that's
on page 71.
There we go. Thank you. Page 71. Yeah. No worries. You're new at this. It's fine. We've mentioned Stray Dogs on the show before, and I think when the first issue was solicited, and I really want to check it out. Definitely.
Yep. Yeah, I love Tony's pony stuff, so I was more than happy to take to see his take on Don Bluth style dogs. I didn't realize that serial killing was a part of it, but it does nothing to dampen my enthusiasm.
It is super, super dark and very unexpected for Tony, but I love Tony. So I heard about this like a year ago. You know how it is. You hear about something and then finally you're like, oh, there it is. Like, yeah, that's great.
Awesome. All right. Yeah, I think that is pretty much it from there. So we move over to Dark Horse, and you know what, we can talk about the other stuff in Dark Horse after we talk about it.
Let's give the man his due.
Exactly. What's our page number, sir?
87.
87. There we are. And oh hey, Dwonch, you got this book, Jenny Zero. Why don't you tell the fans about it?
Well, I do think it's really strange that the cover is so small on here, and that's like a splash page from the issue. But they must have loved it. Yeah, it's a story. So my buddy Brockton and I, who I published him when I was with Action Lab. We maintained our friendship over the years, and I always try to trick everyone that I know. And you guys, I'm going to give you the sales pitch right now. Go to Puerto Rico Comic Con when you get a chance, because it's the best vacation you'll ever have.
I will gladly do so. I have a Puerto Rican girlfriend. That will probably be an easy sell.
There you go. Yeah, it's one of my favorite shows because it's strictly like a comic show, right? And there aren't a lot of people traveling out there, so when you get there, the fandom is just so hungry for new stuff. Well, anyway, Brockton and I were drunk in the streets, as we are wont to do. We'd locked ourselves out of our apartment, and our wives were up there hanging out. We left our phones up there because we were on a beer run, and so we locked ourselves out. We wound up just kind of, shooting the ideas off of each other while we were drinking out in the street, trying to figure out how to get back in our apartment. And so like 6 beers later, we'd come up with this idea for a kind of a superhero that's not a superhero, a hero that's not a hero, and kind of a celebutante living in LA off of her father's name. So if like you imagine Captain America dying, saving the world, and then his aimless daughter, who is just famous for being the martyr's daughter, and living in his shadow her entire life. So when the government finds her, she's just kind of circling the toilet, right? And they need her to stop the monsters that killed her father. So along the way, we're gonna kind of go over the lore of who her father was, and he's a kind of very much a Japanese Ultraman archetype character. And it's just a lot of fun and way over the top. And I don't know anyone that writes the way we write, but we sit on a Google Doc, and I'll write 3 pages, and then I go to bed and I wake up and he's edited my pages and then added 5 insane pages. And then while he's asleep, I go in and I edit his pages. And by the time we're done, we've upped the ante so much, just by like, top that in 5 pages, top that in 5 pages. And we went back and forth. That by the time we were done with it, it was just the most gonzo thing that we'd ever written. And it all came from that one first night of brainstorming. And we found Magenta King the next day. We were looking on Instagram for artists and typing in keywords, and he popped up, and I was like, hey, I don't think this guy's ever going to go for us. I don't think this guy's ever going to sign on to a project with us, but why not just shoot it out there and figure out if he wants it? So we gave him the idea and riffed with him a little bit, and he signed on that day. And he's in Brazil, and we were in Puerto Rico. And then we went back to the States and just started writing. And, lo and behold, here's Jenny Zero. It's a lot of fun.
It certainly looks fun, man. And like, I mean, one thing that I'll, I bring up, ad nauseum on this show is my love for things like Invincible. And immediately I think of, the fact that, he's the second generation hero trying to make it, and a little bit of a different premise with that one, to say the least. But at the same time, I love me some Legacy. And that's immediately calling to me with this
and that's me too. Like I grew up with Wally West as the Flash, like that, coming out of Crisis, I was like, this is the best worst character DC's ever put out, because he's so broken and fragile and living in his surrogate father's shadow. And I love those early Flashes, the Butch Geist era of Flash. Even before Wade, it was so great. And I wanted to really infuse that kind of level of legacy into the character. And I mean, obviously I would love to work for DC, but if I can't, I'll work for Dark Horse and do my own thing. And, that's kind of what we're doing.
Very cool. Very cool. So like, I mean, it sounds like it's not even Marvel method on this one. Like it's literally like, I mean, you have to like put a new term onto it, like the Zero method or something, where like you literally like anything you could do, I could do better in the Google Doc. Like, well,
I don't know. Like I don't know if Brockton. I don't think Brockton has an ego. I may have a slight one, but he's a giving lover. He's like we're back and forth. By the time we started actually scripting, we had the whole thing down already. So it was literally like, what like he would call me and be excited about one cool thing he wanted to add, but for the most part we were like in it hand in hand the whole way through. So Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's just a complete trust. It's almost like a trust fall, really.
Well, I love the look of it, man. I mean, it looks really awesome. 4 issues for now, I'm assuming, and then hopefully
Yeah.
this thing does dynamite, and then from there we get more, right?
Yeah, Magenta King he's a phenomenal artist, but like he has a day job like most of us, and like he isn't the quickest, and that isn't a diss. It's just like kind of like life gets in the way, and so we work around his schedule. So we've already started volume 2. Like we're
Nice.
deep into the first issue, just because we knew it was going to take a year to get 4 issues done. So we're like, hopefully this works out, or we're just kind of like leaning in on something that could evaporate. But so far so good. Like I've been in contact with a ton of retailers, and the response is like, "Oh yeah, we already knew about this. We don't even need to talk to you." And I'm like, "Well, that's new. It must be the Dark Horse effect." Like, I've been doing this for like 20 years, and the response on this has been overwhelming so far.
I mean, yeah, it certainly helps to have, Dark Horse's clout behind you.
Well, it's crazy too. Magenta was Paul Pope's art assistant, so like you can tell just by the image of anyone that's looking at this, like he's very, very much in that vein, but like mixed with anime. And lately, Magenta's been sending us emails from Paul Pope, and we're like, ew, we might get a Paul Pope cover. We'll see what happens. It'll be so cool. But yeah, I mean, we're really super excited, and the people at Dark Horse have been fantastic to work with. I mean, I've worked with publishers across the board, and you know what, they know it. So yeah, I'm really happy about how things are turning out.
I imagine you're going to be framing something on your wall if you do get that Paul Pope.
Oh, I already framed my first check from Dark Horse. Like the weird thing is I've been in comics for years and years and years, but like most people will pay you in PayPal, or they'll wire you money or whatever. Like Dark Horse sends checks, and I was like, well, that's kitschy and cool. I'm going to frame that check. It's like the first money that's been sent to me in that way. So yeah, it keeps you humble, and it keeps you kind of focused, right? It's like, maybe you can do this. Maybe you can get paid to do comic books.
What is this old school format known as checks? Is that what you use to buy a VCR?
Oh man, I don't even want to talk about it. I had an old VCR that I just kept for the longest time, and then finally retired it. I was like, why in the world do I need this? I have all these movies on Blu-ray right now.
You can send all your VHSs to Murd. He will gladly watch them.
We're not encouraging that anymore. Now to sign in front of my apartment reading, VHS repository.
Well, Brockton, my co-writer, is a huge VHS head. Like his entire office is just wall to wall, and the more obscure, the better. Like he's insane. He found Terminator 3, and it was like, it came out right after Terminator 2, but it's actually like a remake of Aliens told by some Italian filmmaker. And I'm like, what in the world? And he's like, it's the Holy Grail, man. He's like, there are very few things that you're going to find that are as rare as things that like, Universal and Paramount want to burn. They're just like, forget that. So like, he may have like one of like maybe 100 copies that are in existence of that stuff. But that's the kind of how deep he goes into it, for sure.
That sounds amazing, and suddenly I'm reminded of Bollywood Superman and Spider-Man, which are
those are awesome. By the way, they're so weird. It's so great.
Wasn't there a Turkish Spider-Man movie that I'm thinking of? That was
yes.
There was an Italian Spider-Man, and he looked like Mario and Ron Jeremy put together, but he shot people, so it was really weird. Yeah, he had the Spider-Man outfit, but yeah, he was violent and creepy.
Fun for the whole family, right there.
So yeah, we definitely have more. Like we when we were writing this, the back history of, because it's a legacy character, we had so much back history that didn't make it into the first 4 issues. Like we had a 5th issue that was all told from her father's point of view, and it was all 60s, 70s leading up to his death, and it just didn't make this volume. And it really, honestly, like writing 101, you probably shouldn't end your miniseries on a one-shot that has nothing to do with anything that happened in the previous 4. So we were able to roll that into volume 2. And so that's like, a lot of that is kind of just unpeeling that beautifully sweet onion.
Nice. I imagine there's a lot of Japanese influence in this in general, like like manga and what have you. Just looking at the art style, but also just the setting. Like there's clearly some, if not some Del Toro Pacific Rim, then some Japanese anime action going on here.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And we, you could see it on her arm right there. That's a little kaiju baby. It's a hybrid kaiju baby rifle that vomits acid, and it only responds to her because it thinks she's her mother. And it's just like weird shit like that, man. We just go crazy with it, and all of the crazy ideas came out that first night, and then it was just like literally refining the story and making it something that both of us would be happy with. But Brockton writes movies. He does. I don't know if you guys know the Puppet Master stuff, Full Moon, all that weird schlocky horror stuff. Brockton wrote the last 10 of their movies.
Oh, wow.
And so he's like, he goes way over the top, and I'm like the sensitive one. And he's like I'm the grab you by the heart. He's the kick you by the balls guy. And somehow it worked. And everyone that's read it says it feels very seamless. And I think that's just, the level of communication that we have, it just works out really, really well.
Yeah, it really helps to have a solid collaborator in instances like this. The voice sort of just becomes one like coherent mesh of a unit, to say the least.
Right. Hopefully, no one's like, "Wow, this was written by one dickhead." Hopefully, they're like, "One moron wrote this." No, it was two. Thank you very much.
Yes.
But yeah, it's really, really. I have books that I'm proud of, and this is probably the first. Yeah, this is the first book that I've co-written the way we have, where it was literally both of our hands were in the pie. But super, super proud of it. I mean, we'll see. Fingers crossed for a sequel.
Well, I certainly hope so. I mean, again, everything I hear about it sounds like it's right up my alley. And issue 1 is solicited right here on page 87 of the previews. And once again, that is Jenny Zero, numero uno of 4, and hopefully more, as we have said many, many times.
Well, yeah, the first volume is called Party Monster, which was the original name of the book before Dark Horse was like, there's a Macaulay Culkin movie called Party Monster, right? Do you really want to be associated with that? And we were like, oh, probably not. Let's just change it to her name. So we did Jenny Zero. So the first volume is going to be called Party Monster, and the second one's called Homeland Insecurities. And she's definitely, without spoiling it, a lot of this takes place in LA. And then we're going to Japan in the next volume. So there's going to be a lot more anime stuff. We're doing like this crazy giant robotic Bob's Big Boy and just crazy kaiju death Yakuza stuff. It's going to be bananas. Like if this is our love letter to, just over the top gonzo cinema and The Flash, the next volume is going to be like John Wick and everything we love about Miyazaki. So
you had me at both of those.
Yeah. I mean, imagine like a Miyazaki that's just like hyper violent and hopefully well written, or, written by two idiots. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
But we'll make sure to have that on the back cover blurb for the trade, written by two idiots. It'll be great.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm a big fan of putting really, really bad reviews on the back of your graphic novel. I've done that like so many times. It's like my favorite thing in the world to do.
What the hell is this?
I had a review once for Double Jumpers. It was and it wasn't Jamie D. God rest his soul. It wasn't. His was Not My Cup of Tea, which went on one of the backs of one of my books. But I had a guy from a show. I'm not talking crap about him, but his name, I don't even know his name, but I know it was a podcast called Pete's Basement, and it was on YouTube. And the guy holds up my book and he says, this is real nerd shit. It's not even worth talking about. And he throws it down. And so I put on the back of my graphic novel, real nerd shit, not worth talking about. And it like, seriously, I love bad reviews. If I could get anyone like agitated or elated enough to talk about something, I've done my job. So if you hate it, tell me about it, please, because then I drove you to madness, and that's what I love.
Oh yeah, but that I mean, yeah, because I mean, as you say, like if you take the time and the effort to actually write in detail why this was not for you, I respect that.
Yeah,
You know,
for
I
sure.
respect that a lot more than bad. And then like, you know, that's the 1-star review on Amazon. You know, if you
Right.
write a diatribe, like, okay, it matters to you.
Right. Right. Well, we'll see. I mean, like I said, this one's a lot of fun and it goes places, you know what I mean? So we'll see if people like where we go with it. I think that the premise is strong, and I really think that the art is, I mean, insanely unbelievable. But you know, whether or not you're into, you know, giant ladies, I don't know. You know?
I mean, the attack of the 50-foot woman. I mean, you know, that was a thing, right? Like, come on.
That was the thing. Like, we were literally drunk in the street, and Brockton says, "I want to do a book about a girl. She turns into a monster. She's got these giant claws." And I looked at him and I thought, you know, I've seen like Dark Child and stuff like that, and it didn't seem like what I wanted to do. And so I just turned to him, crushed my beer, and said, "How about gigantism?" And he said, I was like, "There's got to be a market for giant women, right?" And he's like, "Maybe that's it." And I was like, okay. So we just fleshed out the whole idea of the kind of the Ultraman lineage character right there after I dissuaded him from the giant claws. So
Delightful.
yeah.
This is clearly why we have you on, Dwonch, is to get the behind the scenes story of how we went from giant claws to gigantism.
Gigantism, right.
I love it. I love it. All right, we'll let this stew a little bit, and we'll go through Dark Horse and DC, and then we'll head over to the Kickstarter. Sound good to you?
Sweet, sounds good.
Awesome. All right, so let's roll back up a little bit into the beginnings of the Dark Horse previews here, because I had something at the very beginning. Let's see if I can remember where the heck it was. There we are. Oh, yes. More Beasts of Burden, because I knew that Murd, that would be up your alley. Evan Dorkin back on the writing, and Sarah Dwyer co-writing with Benjamin Dewey on art and cover. Beast of Burden, Occupied Territory, number 1 of 4.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's kind of similar in tone and content to Stray Dogs. It's about a group of domestic animals versus supernatural menaces in their little hometown of Burden Hill.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Dorkin's been doing this for quite some time now. God, it has to at least be 10 years, if not more, that he's been working on these Beasts of Burden miniseries. And there's tons of volumes to check out, and this is just the latest of them. And I love that alternate cover of the dog with the laser eye beams. So clearly, this is going to be right up your alley on page 74. Beasts of Burden, Occupied Territory.
Just look at the preview art there. It's a bulldog talking smack about a Paracelsian salamander just sitting there in his napping in his front yard.
Just look at it, lazing out there like a damn tomcat. Makes my stomach knot up. You can sort of hear the voice of Ben Grimm in that dog. All right, what else we got here? Page 76, directly afterwards, Mignola on Tales from the Outerverse, Kojakaru the Skinner. With art by Peter Birdking. Mignola always has something new out of Dark Horse, and this is yet another new thing about the strange and enigmatic bane of Eastern European witches, which has been dead for many years, but from a bloodied French town in the throes of World War II, a plea for help carries across the winds of time.
Does the Outover stuff tie into the BPRD Hellboy stuff, or is this like its own thing? Because it's Chris Golden too, right? And he does all of the Hellboy stuff with Mike.
I think this is its own thing, but don't quote me on that. I've only seen these Outerverse things a couple of times, so I think it might be its own bag.
I mean, it's hard to like disassociate it from the Hellboy stuff, because they definitely have like a coloring style and an art layout style that is very similar across all the books.
Definitely, yeah. I think that's just the Mignola pedigree right there.
Oh yeah, I mean, trust me, I want to work with him, and I would draw just like him if I worked for him. He's so good. Jesus.
Oh my God, yeah. And then directly afterwards, Hellboy Universe: The Secret Histories for more Mignola action on page 78. So yeah, good month for Mignola fans.
Yeah, we're going to be pitching an Action Science Police, and we're like, is it too BPRD? Is it too Mike Mignola? And we're like, well, we're a Dark Horse, so when in Rome, we got to pitch it, right? So that'll be interesting.
Heck yeah. All right, scrolling down, I was going to talk about Cyberpunk 2077, but that whole thing just really rubs me the wrong way at this point, so I'm going to keep rolling.
Is it because the game is trash, or is it
That would be
because-
why. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
One of the most hyped games of the last 10 years. You get Keanu Reeves involved, and you put out utter crap.
I mean, I heard it looked, I didn't even buy it because I just looked at the reviews and was like, nope, I can't do it. Because they were like, it's the worst PS2 game ever. And I'm like, what? Okay.
Apparently it runs gorgeous if you have a strong enough system, PC, but most people are going to be playing it on, Xbox or PlayStation, and there it just looked really bad and had some of the worst bugs I've ever seen in a video game. It was bad.
Do you have an Xbox or a PS?
I actually have a Switch as my main system right now, but I'm hoping to get a PS5 sometime within the next 10 years. So we'll see if I can actually score one. We'll see.
By the time you get one, the PS6 will be out. Don't worry, it'll be fine.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I will get one, and the next day they will announce the PlayStation 6. That's the way this works. Avatar: The Last Airbender stuff. Always happy to see more of that. Suki Alone and Smoke and Shadow Omnibus. Solicited here. Smoke and Shadow is an older one that Jin Lin Yang did, and I believe The Last Airbender Suki Alone is a newer one with the Faith Eric Hicks as the writer. But love me some Avatar: The Last Airbender on page 84.
Stranger things in D&D. Stranger things have happened, Ian.
Yes, that is very true, Dave. Yeah, we brought up the first issue of it, and I think even the second issue of it on previous episodes of previews, and now here is the trade collecting Jim Zub's Stranger Things and Dungeons and Dragons story. They're made for each other,
For sure.
literally made for each other. So
Ian, any word on when the show is returning?
Nothing yet, Chris. I've been waiting for something because it seems like it's about time, but I wouldn't be surprised if we don't hear anything until the end of the year, to be honest. Just because they had to suspend things for as long as it is,
Of course.
and like part of it was happening in Russia, so they got to do that filming, and yeah. So, page 86 though, if you want to read some Stranger Things stuff.
I just thought since these kids are getting older.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Excellent point. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Time is of the essence.
Mm-hmm. Black Hammer Visions. Never heard of it. Page 88.
Huh.
Uh,
Yeah, I haven't received the first issue yet. I'm really looking forward to reading that.
well, more Chip Zdarsky for you in issue 3 of 8, Chris. So that's all you need.
And by the way, Johnny Christmas, he's working on that book. He is the most charming individual. I recommend you tracking both those guys down at a con when that actually happens and shaking his hand. He's a good guy.
Is his real name Johnny Christmas? That's the question.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow.
That's his name for sure.
All right, there you go. I love a guy who
If
doesn't
you-
have to come up with a cool pseudonym.
Yeah. If Adam needs someone to sign comics at his place, that's the guy.
Sweet Christmas, Merd. Sweet Christmas.
Yeah, I guess we're in the market for a mascot.
You hear that, Johnny? If this comic thing doesn't work out, Merd's hiring you.
Oh. All right. Have any of you guys ever read any Mad Men?
I did. I love it. It is weird, but it is cool. At $99 though, how many pages is it? Oh, 680.
Yeah.
Oh, you would kill yourself falling asleep with that in your lap. You just hit yourself right in the head.
I can actually hear Shane saying those exact words because he's not a fan of the omnibuses either because he likes to be able to hold them.
I mean, I almost kill myself with my phone. I can't imagine what this book would do to me.
Well, page 90, and yeah, it's got a lot for it, including issues 1 through 3 of the original series, 1 through 3 of Madman Adventures, 1 through 10 of Madman Comics, and great talent from stuff like Frank Miller, Jack Kirby, Mobius, and more. I'd love to read some Madman. I just don't know if I'm going to read it in this form.
Yeah.
It seems dangerous.
Yes.
Maybe you'll be able to order the omnibus digitally somewhere for maybe not $100, and then you could just safely read that.
Yeah, I'm going to wait for a sale, to say the least.
Yes. Maybe a smaller, less lethal package.
That too. Yes, that too.
But yes, Madman is worth a read, though. I read Well, I think I have those first 10 issues of the 90s series that are included in this omnibus. And thanks to Jim Miller up north, I have a copy of the Oddity Odyssey miniseries, which is kind of hard to come by. And Madman is a very likable character, and he's just dripping with good, wholesome, action-oriented quirkiness. It's got a voice all its own. Science fiction weirdness and very likable, personable, innocent characters.
Yeah, it's like super kitschy and always like well-meaning. You always feel good after reading a Madman, and even if you didn't understand half of what happened in it, because it does get strange, you do you're like, yeah, I feel good. Feel like I can tackle my day. Thanks, Mike. It's great.
I will definitely keep that in mind. I'm a huge Allred fan to begin with, so like it's a hole in my reading that I'll have to fill at some point. Yep.
Oh, there is this Resident Alien. That's got to be the TV show. You guys watching this TV show?
Yeah. I am not watching it yet, but I plan on watching it. And I know that this is one of the things that it's based upon. This is the issue 6 of the most recent Resident Alien miniseries by Peter Hogan. And I mean, Alan Tudyk is in the sci-fi TV series, so clearly I'm going to watch it eventually, because that man exudes talent and personality more than many actors do.
Yeah, the show, you can't imagine anyone but him being that character, and he's really great. The show is really funny but super dark. Like you'll now you're not going to be surprised. I'm sorry I ruined that, because I was just expecting it to be a comedy, and I went in, it's like a murder mystery that gets super dark. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, from the marketing, didn't really seem dark. So I'm kind of glad that there's at least a little bit of a bite to it, because the commercials were very kitschy, to say the least. YouTube wouldn't stop showing them to me for a while, so I've seen them many, many times.
Right.
Yep. And I think the only other thing I wanted to mention in Dark Horse was this Granville Integral by Brian Talbot. Collects all 5 of the Granville novels in one deluxe hardcover volume, and all I have to see is Beware the Badger. It's a steampunk graphic novel that explores an alternate Art Nouveau world populated by intelligent animals, a human underclass, and wondrous technology. These are all things that I enjoy.
And his art is amazing. Brian Talbot is like one of the gangsters of all gangsters. So
Nice.
good.
Yeah, and this is a huge ass collection. Again, 600 pages, so it'll kill you. But it's a little bit cheaper than the Madman stuff, and it's nice to see everything collected in one package.
I love how we're doing the whole death by hardcover little tangent here.
I mean, that would be the subtitle of the episode, right? If that was the thing.
Yes. I may have to work that into the copy when we're putting the episode.
That'd be like that's like the equivalent of like the geeks trying to get to the top long box on their big shelf, that falls on their head and kills them. So kind of a sad but fitting way to go.
It's an after-school special, a cautionary tale.
I mean, it's definitely a poll, though. Like, how would Murd die? And then you list 5 things, and one of them is death by 600-page hardcover. How many people are going to say death by hardcover? Murd?
You never know.
One reason why I'm careful not to buy hardcovers, actually.
Oh, there you go. Right. They have it out for you, Murd. Those hardcovers, yeah.
All right. I think we're good to roll over to DC.
DC. All right.
DC.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And this is issue number 9 of DC Connect. And starting off with a Batman the Dark Knight, an all-new adventure by Tom Keller and Andy Kubert. Yep.
If you had to pick a Kubert, not the dad, obviously the dad, would it be Adam or Andy Kubert? Who would be your Kubert? Because Adam is mine because I loved his Wolverine, but Andy is solid too.
Yeah, that's a good question, actually.
Great question.
I have a hard time telling them apart, so I have no idea how to answer.
I think I go Andy. I think I go Andy for the most part.
Okay.
I think Andy's style was a little less tight at times, and it makes it a little bit more fluid. But at the same time, I do agree with Murd. Sometimes I have very hard time telling them apart. They're both excellent. Yep. And this one here, an epic tale that will take Batman on a harrowing, action-packed European adventure.
By the way, Ian, I meant to ask, speaking of Batman, I just saw an ad because I'm catching up with my reading for a new Batman animated film called Soul of the Dragon.
Yes.
Have you seen that?
I have not seen it yet.
Okay.
Not sure if they've added it to Max yet, but it should be added soon because
It looks like they're riffing on Enter the Dragon, so I really have to see it.
Yes, it is a Batman animated movie set in the 70s with ninjas. That's kind of all you need. And it's not solicited here because it's going to be digital first, and we'll talk about it on our next Comic Talk in more detail. But they made huge Batman and Superman announcements today. The quote-unquote follow-up to Batman 66 has been announced, and it is Batman 89. They are doing a digital first Michael Keaton Batman series drawn by frickin' Joe Quinones, who's been wanting to do this for years and finally got permission from DC to do it. And they're also doing Superman 78.
Whoa.
Which is going to be a Christopher Reeves Superman set shortly after the events of Superman 1.
Tell me Gary Frank is drawing that.
I was wanting to hear the same thing, actually.
I think Chris was too.
He's not, unfortunately, but the creator, let me see if I can find the information on that real quick. But it was a group of creators that did have my interest. Also, the Batman one is being co-written by, actually not co-written, I think written by the screenwriter of the Batman films,
Sam Hamm.
Sam Hamm.
Sam Hamm. Oh, wasn't Bob Gale? No, Bob Gale's okay.
Yep. Superman 78 is going to be written by Rob Vendetti and art by Wilfredo Torres.
Rob's my buddy. I'm gonna text him right now. I'll be like, tell me all about this. Great.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, it was a huge announcement and I was thrilled by both of them. And it's a long time coming because this stuff has never really been outside of like a strip that was running for the Batman 89 in newspapers, I think, for a short time.
So he's doing Superman 78?
Yeah, he's doing Superman 78. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna text him right now.
Sweet. But yeah, no, this Batman Dark Knight thing looks pretty cool. Even if every single time I read it, I have to say it in that high pitched European adventure statement that I made because it just reminds me of like a Tiny Toons esque romp for Batman. But cool for a change of setting. And Tom Taylor is an excellent writer, so yeah, I'm interested in this on page 6. Scrolling back up to page 4. And Robin has a new outfit. Damian Wayne, that is, has a new outfit and a new ongoing series. And I love this new Batman, this new Robin costume. It's dynamically different and kind of has shades of the Tim Drake 1 year later redesign.
Yeah, kind of looks like a medieval squire's outfit. A bit of a tabard or tunic thing going on there.
Yep. Yeah, and I kind of like the change in the color scheme. Going more black first rather than red first. And it suits him. I think it suits Damian a lot. Yep. And this will be Joshua Williamson and art and cover by Gleb Melnikov. I hate names. Gleb Melnikov is the artist, and I hope this works out well for Damian, and it's nice to see an ongoing Robin series again for the first time in a while.
Sure.
Yep. All right, moving further into the book here. Got some preview pages for that Dark Knight, and it looks freaking gorgeous. How about The Next Batman, Second Son #1 by John Ridley, continuing his story, post Future State of Tim Fox as the next Batman. Here we sort of get his origin story with art by Tony Akins, Travel Foreman, and Mark Bareilles. That is an all-star art team right there. Looking
Fantastic
forward to this.
cover.
Mm-hmm.
Very much so, yeah. Yep.
It's cool.
Forgive me, I'm ignorant. What did John Ridley win an Academy Award for?
John Ridley, let me get that information for you right now. Academy Awards.
I know his name. I'm just brain farting on.
Oh, best adapted screenplay for 12 Years a Slave.
There we go.
Okay.
Oh wow.
And Yes, he's also the writer of the current The Other History of the DC Universe miniseries.
Yes, which has high praise from a certain Murd.
Mm-hmm.
All I need to know.
Yep.
Oh, Batman and Scooby-Doo
There's a book for
mysteries.
Murd.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. It's the same artist of the Scooby-Doo team-up ongoing. Not the same writer. It's Ivan Cohen instead of Charlie Fish, but still, it's Scooby-Doo and the Scooby Gang and Batman. And in the very first issue, they're going to travel through time to solve the mystery of Batman's purple gloves.
Ah,
That is amazing. So this is like the perfect
deep cut.
trio, right? I mean, this is so rad.
Oh yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Page 10. It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, moving on to a new challenge of the Super Sons. The Super Sons are back, and Pete Tomasi on writing, Max Rayner on art, picking right up where the adventures of the Super Sons left off. It's the adventures of Damian and Jonathan Kent. I guess long before the events of anything else, or possibly in its own continuity. It doesn't matter. They're fun, and it's Peter Tomasi, so that's all I need to know. On page 11. So
Allow me to indulge for a minute, Ian. The Super Sons. Thank you. Go ahead.
Oh, by all means, Chris, I would never take that away from you.
Small, pathetic man. Go ahead. Me, not you. Go ahead.
Oh no, I know.
I was like, wow, Chris, sick ass burn with that small, pathetic one. Like, geez. All right.
How about this this Ruby Justice League crossover written by Marguerite Bennett with art by Aneki? Sort of a very much a manga-esque turn on the Justice League here, crossing over with Ruby. It's a Rooster Teeth series, so it's not actually Japanese, but very much in a Japanese style. And Marguerite Bennett is certainly an excellent writer to be putting this together. So page 13 for any of you who are fans of Ruby or fans of the Justice League and fans of Japanese style art.
Is that a Frank Quietly cover?
It is not. But
Wow, it looks just like Quietly.
Yeah, that's art by Daniel Sampier. And I believe the cover was done by Mikhail Janin.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, really nice. That's on page 14, by the way. Action Comics number 1030. Philip Kennedy Johnson, also featuring a story with Midnighter, for that matter. So backups continue in Action Comics. A long time Action Comics thing. DC Comics is continuing to bring back, and I am perfectly okay with that. Not as okay with the $6 price tag, but that's life.
Yep. Kind of seeing DC moving into, the same state of affairs Marvel was in when they were forced by DC, ironically enough, to publish only a certain number of titles per month.
That was 8 titles a month, Murd.
Mm-hmm.
Titles a month.
And so they just kind of squished certain titles together.
Yep.
And anthologies like Tales of Suspense, etc. I think that's about what
Indeed.
DC's up to right now. That's why we're seeing so many backups.
Definitely. Yeah.
So is there any credo to the rumor that they're going to move to just trades? Is that a thing, or is it?
I feel like
rumors like that for many years.
Yeah, it's just with the Warner Brothers thing and the AT&T. Then it was like it felt like it could happen this time. I don't know. I hope it doesn't.
It's always possible, but I do agree with you, Dave, that I hope it doesn't. But I think we're still a long ways away from things going trade only, especially with digital being what it is now, and with there being, the new DC Universe app, the DC Infinite that literally just launched, which means you'd be taking away single issues from that and being added onto there. So, yeah, I don't think that's going to be the case for quite some time.
Right. Well, hopefully, fingers are crossed.
Yeah. I need to catch up on James Tinian's Batman because I just keep hearing more and more positive things about it. And I'm glad that, for anybody to follow up after Tom King, I'm glad that it was someone with the pedigree of James Tinian IV that already had history with, Batman from Detective Comics, and the story and the characters he's been bringing into it just seem really intriguing to me, especially Ghostmaker. I got to know more about this character. And this is issue 107 on page 17. So I'll hopefully be getting the Joker War soon, as it's they just started adding that to the Infinite app, and I'll see how I feel about that. I love that they're doing the black and white stuff, and also the one that was solicited. By the way, it's on page 20, but the one that was solicited last month, the what was it, red and blue Superman? All very, very cool concepts. All right, let's see here. The final issue of Batman versus Ra's al Ghul by Neil Adams on page 24. I'm sure he'll have another miniseries immediately afterwards because he seems to do that a lot. But this is the last of his, current miniseries, and Dead Man is on the cover.
I always like
Dead Man.
Neil Adams' Dead Man is one of the coolest characters ever.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So cool.
Yep.
Up.
Was that an homage to that cover? Is that a Mad Love cover? Does it look, it looks very similar to something I've seen before, like a Mask of the Phantasm or something, right?
It does have that flair to it. Yeah.
I'll be talking about this series at length in our next comic talk, Ian.
Excellent, Chris. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, considering that Phantasm is actually on the cover, so that's that's its own thing.
Still one of the greatest Batman movies ever done.
Oh, for sure,
100%. Yeah, happy to see that it's on HBO Max and readily available.
I tell you, I am loving HBO Max unless there's something from DC that I do want to watch that's not on there. There's so much great content, and then I'll be looking for one thing and be like, it's not there.
They just added the Batman this week, so they're still definitely filling in the gaps on stuff. Like soon enough, they should have Justice League and Justice League Unlimited on there because those were both on the DC Universe app, but they're for some reason not on Max yet. So they should be coming soon.
Yeah, where I got them on VHS. I'll come over, Adam. It'll be great.
You got my back.
Oh yeah. Issue 2 of Crime Syndicate, which Adam will probably be picking up.
Oh yeah, that's down.
But the question is, when will it be read?
It will be skimmed first, and then it will be put in the pile and read appropriately.
Exactly.
Page 27, Crime Syndicate number 2. What else we got in DC, fellas? Have any of you read any of Far Sector?
I have not.
Okay, that's another one. It's another one that I keep hearing very positive things about. That's
this is the penultimate issue, actually.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so I'm going to wait till all 12 are there, and I'll go ahead and knock it out because it seems like it's a very fresh take on the Green Lantern mythos. And it's the Young Animal line, which really hasn't really been seeing a lot of late, but I'm glad that they're at least letting this finish out. It was on page 30. Let's see here.
Looks like the Flash is having a cross-time adventure with a female character who's a mashup of both Booster Gold and Blue Beetle.
All of my fantasies are coming true.
Well, I am definitely going to have to ask Shane about this on our next comic talk and how he feels about Gold Beetle because that is awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh, and they're being menaced by a Dominator there, so this is.
I like this variant cover where the Flash is like, "No, thank you."
like I have someone, but thanks.
Right.
Page 716. The Flash number 769 on page 31 for that one. Jeremy Adams on the writing and Dave LaFuente. Brandon Peterson drew that amazing cover there with the Dominator on it. Loving these covers for the Joker. All these different variants that are out there on page 33.
That Stealth Freeze cover.
Oh, gorgeous.
So good.
Absolutely gorgeous. Here we go. Page 35, Bendis and Marquez, and the battle that I love to see, Superman versus Black Adam. On page 35, Justice League number 60. I am all in on that. Definitely all in.
Great Nightwing cover.
Gorgeous. Gorgeous.
Great cover. That's a great cover.
Really nice. Nightwing number 79 on page 37. Art and cover by Bruno Redondo. So it's a gorgeous cover, and it'll have just as gorgeous artwork on the inside. That's what I like to say. And then, of course, the variant cover where it's basically just a full body, look at me, I'm Nightwing shot.
It's one for you and one for the ladies.
Exactly. If he could somehow get his butt showing in that, then it would be 100% like gratuitous.
Then all of my dreams come true, but we can't have that. I mean, guys, gotta fight for something.
Of course. Looking at this cover also on page 38 of Rorschach number 7. God, these covers are so good.
Another series we'll be discussing at length in our next comic talk.
Is it a positive conversation or a negative one? It is. Okay, because I was very hesitant to get into that until it was over because I wanted to get everyone's opinion. Mm-hmm. I feel like for the Watchmen stuff, I haven't been able to go forward with it because I just loved that original series so much.
Sure. Yeah.
Except the TV show, which was frigging phenomenal. But,
so good. So good. Yep. I see Suicide Squad number 2 has a certain Superboy that I like to see in his black t-shirt costume. Con-El back again on page 41. So yes, I will be checking this out, and some interesting imagery on here too. Like and the different the owls are involved somehow, and Peacemaker and Talon, and a whole bunch of stuff going on here.
Yeah, that seems like a lot of fun. I always like Suicide Squad just for that fact that it could be anyone. You could just throw anyone in there and build a story around it. Yep. But this looks like a really interesting and odd choice of characters for sure.
Yeah, and especially with James Gunn's movie on the horizon, I think we're going to see just about as many weird things as we could throw into Suicide Squad leading up to that.
Oh, yeah, it looks crazy.
Yep.
Never thought I'd be able to go see a movie in which I could see Peacemaker side by side with Polka Dot Man on the big screen. It's happening.
So crazy.
It's happening.
Oh, yeah. It is definitely happening. Yep. Speaking of Superman Red and Blue on page 43, by the way, we get the next one of that. And yeah, it just looks cooler and cooler every time I look at it. Great stuff.
So, by the way, guys, Robert Venditti says, super stoked for it, man. Superman 1 and 2 were my intro into superheroes.
Nice.
And Superman has always been his favorite since those movies. So I think it'll be legit. And if you want him on the show to talk about it, let me know. I'll just set you guys up. He won't shut up though. He's worse than me.
Hey, I will gladly let the creator do the talking. That's fine by me.
Yep, writers are a gregarious bunch.
Exactly.
Yeah, let me know when you want me to hook you up with him for sure.
Hell yeah, man. Thank you. Yeah. And Dave Dwonch proving his worth. All right.
Tell that to my wife. Could you send my wife an email? That would be great.
I'll get right on that. Oh boy. Teen Titans Academy number 46. Again, this looks like fun more than anything else. Yeah. Finding out who the heck Red X is going to be. That's interesting. And again, the fact that they put Red X in the comics after all this time, when it was our Teen Titans animated character, is a pretty cool thing.
I feel like they're leaning in on these fringe books, like books that, they skim the DC universe, but you should be able to read them on their own. Like, I think that's probably the hardest thing for new young readers, right? Is to like try and I don't even know where I would start with Batman if I was like, give me where to start from the last 10 years. I don't know where that would be to pinpoint to give to a new reader. So this is great stuff for emerging fans.
Oh, sure. Yeah, no. And I feel the same way. I mean, we're, we may very well be doing a top 5 soon, which will hopefully give some people a foot in the door, but that is
there you go.
To be determined and coming soon. So yeah, we'll figure that out. I don't even remember Truth and Justice number 1 being solicited. So
nor do I.
I'm clearly falling asleep, and that's the case. But yeah, page 47 has number 3, and it has John Constantine or Constantine, depending on your preference, and Papa Midnight involved. So yeah, that's okay.
This is going to be an interesting one because I know Ray Anthony Height's artwork is somewhat. It's like that older X-Men style. It's sort of cartoony. Okay. And I don't think I've ever seen a John Constantine drawn like that. So it seems like it would be an interesting take on it for sure.
Yeah. Whether he's adapted his artwork for the piece or whether it's going to be more in that style, I'll certainly be curious to see what it looks like. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'll text him right now too. I'll see if I can get some preview art.
And this has been Texting people with Dave.
Oh, sorry guys, that's so good.
Dude,
I love it.
come on. Clearly, we have you on for your connections.
He's got quite the digital
Yeah.
Rolodex.
Yes, indeed.
That's the whole, hey, I'll meet you at the con bar after the show. Give me your number. So I just have everyone's number.
Speaking of Batman and John Ridley,
John Ridley,
the
yeah.
Batman by John Ridley Deluxe Edition, 128 pages for only $17.99. But that's issues 1 through 4 of Future State, stories from Batman Black and White #1, and Batman the Joker Warzone #1, and a brand new story by John Ridley with art by Dustin Nguyen.
So good.
Immediately interested. Yep.
And Nick Darrington is no laughing matter. He is insanely good. And Olivier Coipel, is it Olivier?
Oh, yeah.
Coipel? Yeah, Coipel. There it is. Yeah, awesome.
Been a huge fan of Olivia Coipel's for years, yeah. All right, War of the Multiverses trade paperback. I may actually buy this straight up, even though I can.
Wow.
Yeah, page 50, because I was that impressed with some of the multiverse stuff that's come out of this so far, that it may very well be worth buying. It's got Dark Knight's Death Metal, The Last 52, War of the Multiverse, and Dark Knight's Death Metal, The Last Stories of the DC Universe, with all the creators you can fit under a hat, because there's a lot of them. On page 50. Now actual Frank Quitely with The Authority. The forever...
It's still being resolicited, this book. It's an amazing book, but I'm like, wow, okay. Are they doing a lot with The Authority these days?
They are not.
Really, no.
No. I mean, Midnighter has the backup.
Right.
So with, I think, Apollo in it every now and then, but those are the only two that really show up, I found.
Oh man, I hope they bring them back. Maybe this is like a precursor. Maybe they're prepping us for something, because I would love it.
It's possible. Yeah. But
So
anybody who
good.
hasn't checked it out, page 51, it's back in print.
Ooh, Norm Brayfogle. Oh.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Norm, you're the best.
He was such a good artist. He really was.
And the great Archie Goodwin is one of the writers.
Yeah.
Yeah, page 53, a whole bunch of old Batman the Dark Knight Detective stuff, volume 5 of that. Collects 612 to 614 of the Detective Comics, 616 to 621 of Detective Comics, and then Detective Comics Annual #3. All right. More of this, too. This Batman Universe thing, this was another one of the Walmart.
The Walmart books?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And now they're getting full collections and trade paperbacks. And it's Brian Michael Bendis on writing with art by Nick Darrington. I'm glad they're giving these, full trade paperbacks, because some of this stuff was very hard to find if you didn't have a Walmart near you, or you live in New York City where there are no Walmarts.
You're fine, Ian. You're fine.
Fine.
You can live without Walmart, believe me.
Oh, I know. I have a Target. I'm good enough.
Oh, there you go, Murd.
It's cool.
It's the hardcover, so I don't think Murd's going to own it, but page 55, Bizarro Comics, the Deluxe Edition.
I mean, it's also dangerously page counted.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes. It's all right. I have it in 2 nice, non-lethal soft covers. Yeah,
Excellent.
So, yeah, I just got around to reading the first one this summer, and I liked it so much I had to rush out and find a copy of. Actually, I think it was thanks to you, Ian. I was able to find a copy of the Bizarro World second volume.
Yes, I remember sending you that Amazon link. Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Well, many thanks.
My pleasure. Fables. Dare I say I never finished Fables?
I haven't either. You're not alone there.
Oh
Same
my
here.
God. Guys, I haven't either. And I love that series. I have no idea why I stopped. Well, I think when they had the kids, that's when it was like started to wane a little bit for me. And I carried it on for maybe another arc. And then for some reason it just like fell off my radar. Such a bummer, but such a good book.
It was one of those things where, and I mean, we know this just from, hearing Bill interviews with Bill Willingham. It was supposed to end at a point, and he decided to keep it going. And when we got to that natural end, like when we found out, who the adversary is, and dealt with that, after that it was kind of like an also ran in some ways.
Right.
and I will finish it at some point.
Yeah, me too.
Whether I get the trades, because I think I sold all my single issues, so I think
I have to start over from the beginning.
Yeah,
the whole thing.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that either.
No.
I mean, it's a great ride, right? But yeah, so so did they roll all of Vertigo into Black Label? Because it looks like Hellblazer or Constantine is in the regular universe, but then anything that's R-rated is Black. Got it.
Yeah. Vertigo no longer exists, unfortunately, even though they're advertising Vertigo books in DC Infinite. Anything that's being reprinted is under Black Label. It's like when Wildstorm went bye-bye, and then all of a sudden, things were just being printed under DC.
Got it.
Yep.
Well, I do love a lot of the Black Label stuff that they've come out with. It's been a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, no, it's cool. It's just still sucks to see the end of Vertigo.
Right.
Yeah. Joshua Williamson's run, I can't say enough positive things about it, and this is one of the final trades of that on page 57, volume 14 of the Flash Age. So anybody who wants to check that out or has been checking that out, this is near the end of that run. And look at this cover here for the Flash, the death of Iris West. You are cordially invited to attend the last dance and witness the death of Zap, you're dead. If this wasn't a masquerade party, I'd swear that act was for real.
Got a Golden Age Sandman facsimile on the cover there. Someone impersonating him.
Yep, and a pretty convincing pre-crisis Bizarro as in the role of the victim. And then that is an actual late Bronze Age Flash cover too.
Yep.
Produced by Dick Giordano.
Nice.
Look, and they're dancing so conservatively with each other too. That's fascinating.
I know.
It's like an 8th grade dance the way they're holding each other.
Oh boy. Well, you
arm's
had to
length, boys and girls, arm's length.
Exactly. You had to be arm's length back then. Page 58, Flash 270 to 284.
The Impulse.
Then on the very next page, my youth right here. Impulse runs in the family. Anybody who has not checked it out, I still have old trades sitting on my shelf, but 1 through 12 of Impulse and 108 to 111 of the Flash here. Mark Waid and Humberto Ramos. Those were the days, man. I love those early Impulse issues. So good on page 59.
Yeah, I mean, the 1-2 punch of the Impulse series and Waid and Waringo doing Flash. It was for me, one of the high points of Flash for sure.
Absolutely. Yep. All right. Anything else in DC, gents?
I'm good.
Merge, you got any other trades to call out other than the one that I'm literally on right now?
Just now scrolling by, yes. This is page 64, I believe, and it's the third volume of DC's attempts to publish all its original Captain Marvel material from the Bronze Age on, and this is the Bridwell and Don Newton Captain Marvel stories from the back pages of World's Finest Comics in the late 70s and early 80s. I'm not sure that these stories have ever been reprinted before. Because goodness knows I had a hard enough time hunting down all the single issues for our Spotlight on Shazam and the Bronze Age episodes. Mm-hmm. But they're both for the Don Newton artwork and for the obvious labor of love that Bridwell is putting into writing these stories of his revived the Golden Age Fawcett favorite characters. It's some of the best Captain Marvel material of the Bronze and Copper Ages put together, in my opinion. He kind of got things together in a way that he couldn't when he was just writing the monthly Shazam series. He maybe wasn't under quite as tight scrutiny, and there wasn't as much pressure to perform when he was producing material as for backup stories in World's Finest. I mean, that was going to be sold anyway on the strength of its headliners, Batman and Superman. So he was able to just kind of be a little more experimental, really put a lot of fan texture into the stuff that he was producing for the Shazam strip. And if you enjoy the big red cheese, these are stories that you should probably try at least once in your life. So thank you, DC, for finally getting that to the masses in a reprinted edition.
Indeed. Yep. And we certainly went on and on and on about Shazam in the Bronze Age. It was episodes 1737 and 1738. That's about 5 hours worth of content right there for you. So go ahead and check those out if you have not done so.
A glorious 5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you very much. I'd hope to keep it keep it down to 3 in one episode, but it just didn't have it in me, apparently.
Yep. And it was my first ever real spotlight experience too. So I went in swinging. Yep. Okay, and I think that's just about it with DC. So before we continue on with the book, I will go ahead and bring this into frame here.
Oh yeah.
All
Yep.
right.
And let's go ahead and get things started with Spores, the Broken Circle OGN, available on Kickstarter as we speak. And back over to Dwonch to tell us more.
Hi everybody. Again, it's me, Dave Dwonch.
Oh, hi.
I can't be any more awkward than that. So yeah, this is the second book in a planned 3 graphic novel series, and a trilogy, one would say. And it follows the adventures of the surviving students of the Pineview Academy, who basically just survived prom night during what appears to be a zombie outbreak, which, as the Broken Circle unfolds, you'll realize that it is far worse than a zombie invasion, and something that they're not prepared for. Like, the kids all grew up with horror movies and zombie stuff, so they're referencing Kirkman and The Walking Dead in Prom of the Dead, so they're fully prepared for it. And then as it shifts into something different, things are just going to go from bad to way, way, way worse in the Broken Circle. So yeah, I just love teenage dramas. I'm like a huge 90210 and The OC and Gossip Girl and everything else I probably shouldn't be admitting to right now, but it was my opportunity to kind of like fold that genre into the horror genre, and then just take that into kind of like it's like sci-fi horror dramedy with teenagers. So yeah, a lot of fun, but also it's just going to get super dark, and this is going to be like the thing that everyone's gonna be like, oh, that was so much fun, and it was so fun to read Prom, and they're gonna read Broken Circle and be like, I hate you and I hate myself, thanks. So yeah, that's
Boy, what a pitch, Dave.
Hey, that's my pitch, guys. If you really want to hate yourself, you should read my comic books. But
Please,
no,
tell me more.
It's really cool. I mean, it is really cool. It's actually drawn by Santi Gailan, who did the Mind Palace web series with me, and we did the Prom of the Dead first to kind of get our feet wet together, did Mind Palace, and then we're back to this. So yeah, super fun. But don't expect the expected, because you're going to be, you're either going to love where we're going, or you're going to be like, I don't know. It's weird. It's so weird.
Yet again, back cover material right there.
Yep.
I mean, it was just so weird. What's going on here? Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm a huge fan of stuff like Zombieland, like where like you inject the humor into the zombiness. Like, straight zombie, not that big into, but like you give me like added, teen angst and stuff like that. Like, Warm Bodies is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Oh, it's a great movie. Yeah, for sure.
I love that so much, and this is absolutely up my wheelhouse, man. Like, this is my type of zombie.
Well, and that's the thing. Like what I really wanted to do was, with the first volume especially, was subvert expectations. Like, you're reading about teenagers, but you don't know how they're going to handle being thrust into adulthood right away. I mean, like, within one night they have to grow up, right? And they're all kind of rich, spoiled kids. And then, as it goes on, I mean, obviously the world, it becomes a Lord of the Flies scenario, right? Where the children are off on their own with no rules. And so heroes that you thought were heroes and villains that you thought were villainous, roles will reverse, right? I mean, it's you've got to do what you've got to do to survive. And I think that this series is going to kind of push that concept, and then also tap into my love for, I don't know, really bad, cheesy 80s teen dramas. So
Fun for the whole family.
yes. Well, that's the thing. Like, I think that horror can be anything. I think that's why I love writing horror as much as I do, right? I mean, it can be sci-fi. It can be a coming of age story. It could be a romance. I mean, all of the things that you love about Warm Bodies and Zombieland, it's because it's horror with another element, right? I think that my problem with zombie stuff in general is they rarely explain what it is. And if you're not going to explain how it happened or why it happened, then it kind of gets put on the pile of unexplained zombie movie #1, right? I was a little bummed when Kirkman didn't get into why right? He just kind of ended it. But the way he ended that series, I have to applaud for its bravery too.
Yeah.
So,
I haven't gotten there yet. I will though, because I think I actually bought not too long ago a like all of the remaining Walking Deads for like dirt cheap as PDFs. So like one of these days I will actually finish the damn series, but it's not high on my list at the moment. But does this pick up exactly after Prom of the Dead, or has there been some time?
like the day after.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. The prom at the end of it, they hit the road, and then this takes place on the road. So
Nice.
yeah, it's a lot of fun. It is a super challenge though. Like we have all these reward tiers, and one of the premium tiers was I'll draw you in as a character with lines, right? And I did that for Prom of the Dead, and my friend Loris, who is a coworker, instantly said, yes, I want to be in it. Yeah. And I love her. And the way I wrote her in, I didn't want her to die. Everyone that bought in on that tier was supposed to die. And I kept her around, and now she's a main character in the second one. So when those tiers popped up, more people jumped on. And now I'm like, who am I gonna love? And who is going to stick around for volume 3? So yeah, it's a lot of fun. There is a level of spontaneity to it. Like I know where the story's going, but a lot of times the characters, you live with them for so long, they start telling you how they're going to act in the apocalypse. So I've been known to pivot halfway through, and I get to the same point in the story, but as I got there, characters developed into their own. They started developing their own voices, and then characters like Loris get to stick around. So yeah, we'll see where this one goes. We're through about half of it right now.
Okay.
But now I've got to go back and retool it because I've got these people that I have to figure out where they're going to fit in the story. So it's going to be fun.
Well, if anybody wants, to understand the experience of being written into a comic book, they can contact Adam Murdo. And from his time with Mercury and the Murd, he's 100% familiar with what it's like to be a comic book character, and he can give them some tips.
I'm actually 100%. I'm one of, I don't know how many people, but I got the privilege of drawing Adam as a comic book character, which, and I wrote a short story and I drew 2.
That was in the Comic Geek Speak, like anthology, right?
Well, it was the actual comic itself.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. I don't know if that made it into the actual Comic Geek Speak anthology. That my portion, but yeah. Shout out to Sean Pryor. He's the man.
Yep. Absolutely. And we had him on about this time last year, right as pandemic was picking up, and we'll have to have him back on soon to find out how the heck he's doing. But I've been following him on Twitter and what have you. He seems to be doing well, and I think he had another project once on Kickstarter not too long ago, if I remember correctly.
Yep. In fact, I have it. It's in my bookshelf, but my bookshelf is organized. I'd have to go dig it. I'm not going to go grab it. But he's been working really, really hard since the old Action Lab days, and he's got a ton of books under his belt right now. I'm super proud of that guy.
Yep. So what other, you want to share some other tiers of support with the fellas out there? Or?
Oh, I like to think that the best tier is the graphic novel tier. Like if everyone just if you didn't read Prom of the Dead, you can pick it up here. If you want both, it's $30, which is just retail. So it's just literally like pre-ordering the book. Yeah. I like that tier just because, a lot of people like those incentive covers, the weird rare variants and stuff. But I know that people that are buying that aren't reading it. They're mainly just there for the collectability, which is cool. But, I do write things to be read. So hopefully we'll get a lot more of the people that want the graphic novels.
Well, I've got Prom of the Dead sitting on my shelf from New York Comic Con, actually. So I look forward to reading more in the series and seeing where it goes and stuff like that. So you have my support.
Nice, love it. Well, thank you so much.
Absolutely. And as we speak, this may come out a day or two after this, but there's 18 days to go on this. And you're a little bit past halfway to your goal. So far, so good. Knock on wood. And, all you people listening to this, support the book.
Oh, I will say this, though. At 12,000, it unlocks another one of my graphic novels, which will not be printed anywhere else. It's this thing called Mind Palace. I did this web series. I basically did it for 3 years. Me and Santi, who drew this, and it's all of Brian Fuller's canceled TV shows. Do you know who Brian Fuller is? He did Hannibal. He did Wonder Falls, Dead Like Me.
Yep.
All of his Pushing Daisies. Huge show. All of his shows get canceled after 2 or 3 seasons. Hannibal, and so it all takes place in Brian's subconscious, and all the characters still have stories to tell, but they're writing their own stories in his subconscious and driving him insane. So,
wow.
And when Brian's at his creative lowest, he visits his subconscious mind and God, I once wrote all these awesome characters, and one of them winds up murdering him while he's visiting his own subconscious. So it's a murder mystery in Brian Fuller's brain.
That is amazing.
And we just wrapped it up. You can go on mindpalacecomic.com if you want to preview it. But because it's all copywritten material, I just gave it away for 3 years. So for this Kickstarter, because of my relationship with Santi, who is the artist of that, we decided to give it away for free. So with the extra money, if we get to $12,000, the $2,000 is going to go towards printing that up for anyone that donated for print tiers. So if you order the graphic novels, you'll get an extra graphic novel for free.
That is freaking awesome. And I was a huge fan of Wonder Falls back in the day. Like, that was my jam, and I was always so sad that it wound up getting canceled as soon as it did. And there's so many other Brian Fuller things that I was sad got canceled. Wasn't sad when Heroes got canceled, but then again, he left.
No, he wasn't the guy. Yeah, he was just kind of there, right? That's the thing. It's weird. Like, I didn't know Brian, and then I developed a relationship with him, and I say relationship loosely, but he found out about this. And when he found out I drew him, or I wrote him into the series, at first he thought it was just like a fanfic thing. And then as the story progresses and he pops up in it, you're like, where are we? What is going on? And I don't know. I think that Murd, you can attest to this. When you're drawn into a comic, it's pretty flattering. So he and I have been talking about this project for a long time, and developed a sort of friendship around it. So it's good. As much as you could be friends with someone that's like super famous and really successful and totally not you, but good stuff.
Well, it's like being John Malkovich with a murder bent. So like that's.
Did you finish reading Hannibal or watching Hannibal?
Oh yeah, I did, and I really hope there's more at some point because they keep talking about going back to it at some point down the road. And I would love for that because it's one of my favorite series.
Yeah, I did. This story starts with Will Graham not remembering how he got there, and he just remembers embracing someone, feeling love and falling, and then waking up there. So it just literally dovetails right out of Hannibal into this. Oh,
nice.
So,
very cool.
It's a lot of fun. Yep. But we wanted to do a webcomic that looked like a Vertigo comic, so you can totally tell it's just got all of the Vertigo fingerprints all over it.
Awesome. So go ahead and support Spores the Broken Circle OGN. And you may very well wind up getting Mind Palace if we get to the right tier. So very, very cool. We
can only hope.
Exactly. We now return to your regularly scheduled previews already in progress. And over to IDW. And oh my God, do we start with adorableness on page 110. I love chibis, and it's Chibi Usagi Yojimbo. Okay, that's just too much. And it's written by Stan Sakai like usual.
It's so awesome.
So cute. And Julie Fuji Sakai did the art. So very cool. I think that's his daughter, if I remember correctly.
I mean, how much talent can one family have?
Right?
I mean, geez.
That is really, really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep. We got another Jeremy Whitley, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic on page 112 for Murd here.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Adventures in Abyssinia, the land of the anthropomorphic cats. And that's Tony Fleek's artwork right there.
There you go.
And a little more can be found on the very next page.
Yep. And my God.
Page 113, they're going back for a second helping. Another My Little Pony Transformers crossover. The first one was just feed bags of fun and Energon cubes of enjoyment. And I'm in instantly. I love the hell out of that first miniseries.
Feed bags of fun.
That is the quote that should be on the back of this book. Let me tell you.
There's gratis. It's as well deserved. And that cover is by Tony Fleeks once again.
Yes, and James Asmus on the writing for this one with Sam Maggs. Very cool. 4-issue miniseries. I like the variant cover too.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
Ponies on Cybertron.
3-issue miniseries here on the very next page has me interested. Kanto and the City of Giants, #1 by David Booher. Kanto has surprised, delighted, and moved readers with tales of the clockwork hero fighting for love, his people, and hope. And this is a special Kanto series in which our titular hero reunites with the giant guardians of Dis, Fra, and Ba, as well as other friends and foes to recruit the Kingdom of Giants to his quest to defeat the Shrouded Man. This sounds adorable, and clearly I need to track down earlier Kanto stuff to find out what the heck is going on. But
I heard it was like the best series.
Yeah.
I think it was a year and a half, 2 years ago, maybe. But yeah, when it first came out. But yeah, so good.
It sounds right up my alley. And this is on page 114. One of 3, Kanto in the City of Giants, written by David M. Booher, with art by Sebastian Perez, not Perez, but Perez. No quarters in the jar here.
That is an interesting European-looking book.
Yes, on page 116, The Delicacy. I'm a huge fan of food comics, and this is written and drawn by James Albone, and it's about rare and delicious fungi spells trouble for an ambitious restaurateur in this sumptuously painted graphic novel from one of Scotland's most imaginative young cartoonists. I am so in on this.
That's cool.
That sounds awesome. Very nice. And I'll probably get very hungry reading it. All right. Anything else from the realm of IDW?
I sort of point out on page 125.
Mm-hmm.
As always, the great Star Trek Year 5 covers.
Oh, so good.
I've yet to actually read this book, but if the quality of storytelling is anywhere near the quality of the covers, it's a great Star Trek series.
Yep.
Yeah, Jackson and Colin are really, really great writers. Jody as well. But yeah, they are so enthusiastic about this series, and I had the privilege of sitting next to Jackson and Colin at a con. I mean, it must have been last year, right? Well, the year before. Jeez. And they had this whole thing planned out. I mean, it was like their excitement was just completely infectious.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, and I mean, I need to check this out just for the covers alone, and also just the artwork. You know, you got some JK artwork in there. You got Angel Hernandez and Sylvia Calfiano. This is book 3, so it collects issues 13 through 19, and solicited here on page 125. But you know, anything Star Trek is bound to be fun, and this just looks like the passion is there. So loving it.
By the way, Ian, going back to the cavalcade of pretty dismal Super Bowl commercials.
Yeah.
The Paramount one with Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
Are they moving all Star Trek shows to a new Paramount channel?
So this is what used to be CBS All Access.
Right.
Is being rebranded as Paramount Plus. So
Okay.
Anybody who currently has a CBS All Access subscription, as of March 3rd, it will be called Paramount Plus, and they're just adding more stuff to it.
I'm just wondering because I've been enjoying having all the Star Trek shows on Netflix for years.
Oh, yeah.
I'm wondering if we're going to lose that now.
They haven't announced them leaving.
Okay.
I wouldn't be shocked if eventually they do, but they've farmed it out to so many other places that they would have to essentially just end the deals with them. So I wouldn't be surprised if that does happen sometime down the road. I haven't heard any announcements yet, but if I do,
Fair enough.
I'll let you know.
Thanks.
Yep. All right, I think that's pretty much it for me on IDW. Yeah, not seeing anything else catching my eye. So over to Marvel, and we have the end of Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman's landmark run, which I was saying last month. I'm going to have to check out this whole run of Venom. But Venom number 200, as there have been 200 issues of Venom comics over the years, somehow.
I'm sure that includes all the gratuitous 90s miniseries and all that numbering.
Yes, yes, it does.
Yep, Lethal Protector and all that stuff. Yeah, it's all in there. And now Cates and Stegman give us issue 200. This will be the end of their run and their end of their, I guess, like the end of Ryan Stegman on any sort of Spider-Man stuff for a while too, because he did Superior for a while and then worked on the main Spider-Man book and then went over to Venom, and I guess now he's going to do something else over at Marvel or something else. Period. So yeah.
But what really matters, Ian, is page 4.
Oh yes.
Yes, how I am looking forward to this.
Oh my God.
It's another third time's the charm situation. This has been solicited and resolicited, and I hope it finally finds its way to our hands, because boy, is this series made for yours truly.
Yes.
And for a couple of other folks in this call as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Amen, brother. Amen.
Oh,
That's
boy.
awesome.
Yeah. And anything involving Kurt Busiek and heroes from different eras coming together.
And Marvel history, that no one does it better.
Exactly.
Nobody does it better. Okay.
I mean, Avengers Forever is one of my favorite books, period. And I need more of this in my life. And this is the Marvels, Kurt Busiek, Yildiray Cinar. It better actually come out.
Come on, the Wizard's on the cover. How can you?
I know.
And Arcus, the Golden Age Vision.
Yes. Oh boy, and the artwork looks so good. Oh man, these preview pages really have me hyped. Excellent stuff.
I love when Levinstein gets titillated.
Ugh. When it happens, baby. Hey, how about, by the way, just jumping back for 1 second, look at the cover for this Avengers number 45. Also,
my man.
Oof. Yes.
Love me some Blade.
And the man thing.
Wearing the man thing's head as an epaulette. Yeah. Blade makes that look good.
Oh yeah. Heck yeah.
I mean, it really does make you stop on it. You're like, is that a man thing head on his shoulder? Like, I was like, I'm sold. That's so awesome.
Like, did somebody say Jason Aaron is being weird? What? That's Avengers number 45, by the way. Jason Aaron with Luca Maresca on the artwork this time around.
It's a very menacing, both Namor and Dracula behind Blade.
Yes. Oh, and sorry, I just got to the Steve Epting variant cover.
So cool.
Oh my God, I need this on my wall. That is gorgeous. Although that also says that the Marvel universe has been reset so many times that the beginnings of it happened with smartphones existing. So that's.
Come on, Ian, Marvel time slide. Let's get with the program here.
I know. Yep. And Jason Aaron's Valkyries miniseries, which I think may have also been solicited at least once before, is coming out. Issues 1 of 6 here. Jason Aaron and Turin Gronbeck. Could not be more of a Viking name to do a Valkyrie series.
I mean, that name felt very aggressive coming out of your lips. That was like, I was like, I'm afraid of that person.
Gronbeck. And Mattia de Eloise as well on the art and the cover here. Very interested in where this is going to go. Jane Foster is the main Valkyrie, but we've got some other Valkyries in there thrown in there as well, including the one from the movies, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
On page 60, I want to point out Ta-Nehisi Coates is ending his run on Black Panther.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
And I read the first couple of years of his arc. I really enjoyed it. I just kind of fell off it. And again, not because I didn't like it, just money, time, etc. But
yeah,
he was doing this epic Black Panther cast into this future universe where, Wakanda has basically become a totalitarian universe-spanning regime. And there was a whole question as to whether or not this was the T'Challa of the Marvel Universe thrust into this future. It was really well done, and I didn't stay with it. So I think inevitably when they collect this in one big compendium, and I'll make sure I wear a football helmet, I will get it and definitely give it a read from beginning to end. Because the first few years of the arc, I mean, nothing beats Christopher Priest for me when it comes to Black Panther, but this is a damn good volume.
Yeah, well, it'll all be unlimited. Also, in 3
Yep.
months, we'll be able to read the landmark final issue of issue 25, and I can definitely catch myself up, and I will. But I have to go one page above Chris because the '90s child in me, and if I were to not get this,
Yes.
Raphael Suhu would slap me over the head because
And rightly so.
yes, and rightly so. It is his favorite character, Dark Hawk.
Dark
Hawk,
right.
Dark Hawk, Heart of the Hawk. I'm sorry, it's a tongue twister. It's very hard to say. Danny Figueroth, Dan Abnett.
Danny Fingeroff. Wow.
Yeah. Dan Abnett and
Kyle Higgins.
Yeah.
Oh,
with Mike Manley and more on art.
Mike Manley.
Mike
Wow.
Manley. I know. I'm stoked because his art on that original Darkhawk was awesome.
It really was. Yeah. It was one of the things that made it so great. And 30th anniversary of Darkhawk with this issue.
You guys, you feeling old? You feeling old? I'm feeling
Yeah, you're
very
not that old yet.
Yeah, no. Get off my lawn. But I'm glad that they're celebrating it, and to get as many people that were so important to Darkhawk's history together in one package here is really, really great. So yeah, page 15, very much looking forward to it.
I mean, you gotta assume that they're gonna go like super cosmic in the Marvel movies, right? So like Darkhawk, the Nova Corps, like all that stuff's gonna get folded in, I think.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, over time. Yeah. And springing back one last time here, page 12, and then the interior artwork on page 13. Way of X, Cy Spurrier and Bob Quinn. Mutant kind has built a new Eden, but there are serpents in this garden. Some mutants struggle to fit in, some mutants turn to violence and death, and the children whisper of the Patchwork Man singing in their hearts. Only one mutant senses the looming shadows. Nightcrawler. In, baby. That's it. That's all I had to hear.
I will at least give it a look on the shelves, because Nightcrawler remains my favorite mutant of them all.
Yep. Yeah, and Cy Spurrier, I enjoyed his stuff in the past. His X-Men Legacy stuff was really cool, and Bob Quinn looks like he's putting out some very fun and exciting artwork here. Yeah, this is definitely something I'm going to check out for sure.
Ian, speaking of our rallying cry of in, page 24 is mandatory.
Okay, I'm scrolling.
Absolutely mandatory.
Here we are. Okay. Oh, yes, indeed. Here we go. Oh, boy. Spider-Man Spider Shadow #1, Zdarsky. Yep.
We have the writer. Go ahead, Dave. I'm sorry.
Oh, does Chip ever sleep? Because how many books did we go through? Jesus.
I know. He just really does nothing but write.
Yeah, it's a monster.
It's so good. And what if Peter Parker became Venom? It's been said before, it's been done before, but never with Zdarsky and Pasquale Ferry on art.
Look at that Hobgoblin. Oh,
dude, Pascal Ferry is a hell of good. Like one of my faves.
Yep. So this
we've raved ad nauseum about Zdarsky's and Mark Bagley's Spider-Man life story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is one of the best Spider-Man stories I've read in a long time.
Yeah.
And my expectations for this are very high.
And I mean, just again, this cover, it's just so cool.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm really in. Yeah. Not to spoil previews, but is Fantastic Four life story solicited in this Marvel previews, or is that next month?
It's got to be next month.
I think it's next month.
Okay, great. Yeah, I cannot wait to talk about that one. Yeah, excellent. All right, just checking to see if there's anything up here, because I think there was one thing I wanted to point out. Yes, this Guardians of the Galaxy here. Brand new era of Guardians of the Galaxy begins on page, what is the page? Thanks, Marvel.
18 and 19.
Thank you very much, Murd. It's Al Ewing's Guardians of the Galaxy. I have not read this. I'm going to read it, but he has brought back some of my favorite characters in the Guardians run, specifically Moondragon and Phyla-Vell, which means I need to read this series. And this is a brand new start here with Guardians #13, where they're basically just spreading out the Guardians into multiple groups. And yeah, I can't wait to see where this is going to go. And I dig the new costumes. They're really, like they're a good team at look, which kind of reminds me a lot of the Abnett and Lanning look as well.
That G looks a lot suspiciously like a G-Force logo, but I'm just going to throw it out there.
Well, I mean, they are doing Ultraman comics over it.
Right.
You know, why not? I'm sure there's no coincidence in that whatsoever. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Well, it's Al Ewing.
Mhm.
Yes, it is. Yep, absolutely.
Hope this isn't spoiling things for folks, but promotional images revealed elsewhere, not seen in the Marvel previews, show us that other Guardian squads will include members Super Skrull and Doctor Doom.
Oh,
Yep.
You got me. Damn,
Oh God,
Marvel.
yeah.
just off his classic genocidal turn in the great Christopher Cantwell run.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That was a great series, man. Whew.
Wait, is that? Oh, that's a Paul Pope cover, and Daniel Warren Johnson's doing the art for Beta Ray Bill. I mean, could you get any better than that? No.
Oh my God, yeah. No, this surprised me. I was not expecting a freaking Paul Pope cover for Beta Ray Bill, and then it was there.
It's so good.
Oh my God, yeah. If only he was drawing the interiors, but still,
But Daniel Warren Johnson. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, it's still going to be great. It's just I always feel teased whenever I see that. It's like, oh, great artist that I love. Oh, you're not on the interiors, but they're still a great artist. So yeah.
Ian, I really come to appreciate your enunciation. The way you said the word tease just sent a chill up my spine.
Tease.
I didn't get it at first, but it did shoot right at my spine the second time.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate it.
Ian, I'll comment on Eternals in our next comic talk as well.
Okay, good, because I want to hear about it. It's Gillen and Ribic, so like I'm assuming that your response is but we'll know soon enough.
Well, I have issue 1, but I haven't read it yet. But I'll have read it by the time of our next comic talk.
Got it. And the good news is that this is listening to issue 4, meaning soon I will be reading issue 1. Thank you, Marvel Unlimited. How about this Spider-Man versus the Man-Thing?
Mm-hmm. Yep, the 50th anniversary of the muck-encrusted man monster continues.
Yeah,
great character.
Yeah, with writing by Steve Orlando and Alberto Focci on the art.
A Spidey Man-Thing team up is always fun.
Oh yeah, yep. And look at this very different style by. Well, wait, is this the variant cover? This is the variant cover.
Sorry, that's the Nick Bradshaw cover there.
Yeah, I was going to say because that didn't look like Acuna, but woof, it's stunning Nick Bradshaw cover.
I really do like his work.
Oh yeah, same here.
Man can draw some backgrounds, that is for sure. Jesus,
he's detail oriented.
This is definitely the Acuna because oh my God.
And I'm glad Marvel is actually dedicating some attention to Man-Thing on the character's anniversary, because they easily could have just kind of ignored it and moved on. But
yeah,
I'm looking forward to that whole Avengers series that's coming out with the Man-Thing.
Agreed. I know it's not part of the Amazing Spider-Man cover, but whenever I see the red border and a Mark Bagley cover,
Ultimate Spider-Man.
Exactly. That's immediately where my brain goes. So like, I'm disappointed that that's not actually part of the cover, because then that would.
It's a Robbie Tombstone story. It's never good for Robbie.
Ooh, yeah.
It looks like Randy Robertson is getting a little Beetle action on the side there.
I was about to say, hopefully my wife on her 30th anniversary is going to pay attention to my Man-Thing.
Wow.
And bam.
Dave, we got Ian. That's enough.
And bam.
Jim.
Finger guns.
I got to say extra Kellerman's now. My God, stop.
The best part is that I actually had veal tonight, so I can actually say try the veal. But
oh, and don't miss on the Bagley cover of Amazing Spider-Man number 64.
Yes,
the Lifeline tablet. It's back.
Oh,
yes. Oh,
there a micro spotlight on the Clay Tablet saga.
Mm-hmm. With the one and only Dan Gavasden, and boy, oh boy, was that good times.
Oh, it sure was.
He knows what he's talking about when it comes to Spidey.
Yes, he does. Now, speaking of Spidey, why you got to do this to me, Marvel? There's a clone saga. There's another clone saga, and this time it's Miles. But it's solid and on med, so I'm sure it'll be great. It's just, didn't we have enough clones?
You know, I misheard
Never.
you for just a moment. I thought you said it's Stalin on meds, and I was like, that monster was bad enough without medication. I'm like, God.
Oh no. Saladin Ahmed, not Stalin on meds. But yeah, it's celebrating the 25th issue of this particular Miles Morales run as well. I'm curious where it goes, but still, Clone Saga, Miles. All right. Loving these covers though. Oh,
They ran out of adjectives, so now they just got nonstop Spider-Man. Just
Yeah,
never ending sea of Spider-Man.
well, see, the thing is, Dave, this nonstop Spider-Man has stopped 3 times because this is the 3rd time they've solicited it. Only this time around, it's actually issue 2.
What?
Yeah, due to the pandemic, they solicited nonstop Spider-Man #1 like
Quite a while
months
ago.
Yeah, 6 to 8 months ago. Then they solicited it again, and then now they're soliciting it a final time. Only now we're finally up to issue 2. So
It's going to be next month. It'll be full stop Spider-Man, and then did never talk about it again, guys.
hard stop Spider-Man.
There you go.
You know, Ian, I like this kind of comic chemistry you have going with Dave here. It's a revelation for me.
Just
Oh my god.
We
hey,
should do more of this.
we spent like 4 hours at New York Comic Con with me just sitting at his booth, just like both. It was good times. It was very good times. And Spider Woman back to basics, by the way. The old costumes never looked better with a great cover there by Jun Yen Yoon.
I mean, don't mess with this costume. This is the costume, right? I mean, like, you don't need to change a thing. It's perfect.
It really is great. Mm-hmm. Very true. Oh yes, here we go, baby.
Oh,
Hey,
Simonson's.
Page 43.
Wow.
Yep, the Simonsons are back to tell a story they never got to tell with the original X Factor gang. It basically just fills in a gap between when they left and when the next team took over. This involves Archangel, Cameron Hodge, Ship, like the whole X Factor, everything back. It's set before X Factor number 43. So yeah, loving it.
Yeah, that's a definite.
Oh,
That's a definite for sure.
Yep. The arc before this, Dave. I don't know if you saw the solicitations, but it's Fabian Nicieza back on the Adam X the Extreme story.
That's crazy.
Yep. Trying to finally explain how he's the third Summers brother.
One idea is greater than the other, and I'm going to stick with this.
Yep.
Like X Factor with the Simonsons was my jam.
Oh yeah, definitely. Alrighty.
Let me quickly shout out, Ian. Just go back to the Iron Fist page, if you would, please.
Sure.
Thank you. I'm going to talk about issue 1X Comic Talk.
Mhm.
David Wachter, a longtime friend of the show. Boy, does he not disappoint. Let me tell you.
I'm happy to hear it.
I'll get into that.
They're like, we need a guy that knows how to draw fight scenes, and you get the guy that drew Turtles. They also draw amazing humans, and then you got Dave Wachter. He's so good.
Oh my God, yeah, and nobody draws more detail faster than Wachter. Like, that's so good.
And a hell of a guy. What a great guy.
Yes, he is. Heart of gold. Omega Red.
Dave, if you're listening, I'm buttering you up for a variant cover.
Omega Red's back on page 47 of Wolverine number 11. Benjamin Piercy and Scott Eaton, the character that was made just to make a cool action figure back in the 90s.
The Toy Biz years.
Yes.
And another character that they ruined in a cameo in an X-Men movie. I think it was a Deadpool movie. He was in prison, and he didn't look cool at all.
Nope. All right.
Ian, I'm going to shout out some trades, and unfortunately I have to depart.
No worries. All good, sir. All good.
When you get there.
Let's see. Yes. This cover. A Fantastic Four number 31.
Boldly going to a corner of the Marvel Universe they've never yet explored. The Onomatopoeiaverse.
Are you kidding? How awesome is that?
Yep. That's Dan Slott for you, man.
Wow.
What page is that, Ian?
That's on page 52. 52!
52.
Wrong catalog, boys. Wrong catalog.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
We have to tribute to Pants every time.
yes, RB Silva on that as well. Yep. All right, and I think I'm mostly on trades too. Just mentioning yet again,
Oh.
Iron Man. This book is amazing. Cantwell is
good.
knocking it out of the park, and each Alex Ross cover is better than the last.
If there's one, if there's one Marvel series I think you should be reading every month, it's this series.
Yep,
That's how good it is.
definitely. Yep. And I actually really dig the Elektra Daredevil outfit. You know, it's very sleek and stylish. I think it really fits the character well. And it's
once again, Dave, that's Chip Zdarsky.
Go to bed, Chip. Go to bed.
Love it. All right. Yep. We're over to trades, I think, because I don't have any Star Wars things to point out.
So page 77, I just think is a really interesting concept. I probably wouldn't spend $150 on it, but so it's August 1961. So they're reprinting all the comics that were on the stands with Fantastic Four #1.
Oh wow.
So this is in that it's not Timely Comics, it's sort of Atlas Comics moving towards Marvel Comics.
Mm-hmm.
And Martin Good was publishing anything that he could stick against the wall in terms of concepts. He was notorious for, sort of aping trends, then printing, however many examples of that he could to flood the stands. But you see it, what Marvel was doing this time. So you have romance stuff like Love Romances, Millie the Model, Linda Carter, Student Nurse, Patsy Walker, Life with Millie, Kathy. And then you have some of the house titles, Journey into Mystery, Amazing Adult Fantasy, which these all had like, something like Steve Ditko or Jack Kirby, like monster stories or like suspense stories or creepy stuff. Rawhide Kid, they had Westerns, Gunsmoke Western. So that's a fun collection right there.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I'll agree with you that the price that they're charging for it of $150 for these comics is not exactly something I'm willing to pay, but at the same time, it's a cool concept.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, how
ahead.
unique was Fantastic Four though in that swath of books?
Yep.
I mean, I would love to have been a kid in 1961 in August, see that on the shelves, right? Because you're going through, it's Western, romance, monster. What the heck is this other thing right here? What is the Fantastic Four? So cool.
Oh yeah. And speaking of which, on page 79, just gaze at that Alex Ross Fantastic Four cover for the Omnibus Volume 3 of the Lee and Kirby stuff. Amazing.
Yep.
Fantastic even. So good.
There's 11. Yeah, these are great. This is the latter period of the legendary Lee Kirby run issues 61 to 93. So you got Silver Surfer there, you got Dr. Doom, you got the Inhumans, him, which of course becomes Adam Warlock later on.
Mm-hmm.
Great stuff. The Wrath of Odin. Thank you, Ian, for letting me have that moment of indulgence.
But of course, on page 81, Loki Omnibus Volume 1 with a whole bunch of stuff. I'm not naming it. It's Stan Lee, Larry Lieber, and Robert Bernstein. It's $125 and it's 1,008 pages.
Mert says no. Mert says too big, too buku.
Shane's already taken out a life insurance policy.
Danger.
Oh,
Danger.
dude. Teeny has her own omnibus. That's pretty cool.
Yes.
Good for you, Teeny.
Yeah. Excalibur, her Excalibur run. I've heard some pretty positive things. I'm loving X Factor. I'll have to go and get Excalibur just because the side X books have been surprisingly excellent.
If you like the Captain Britain stuff, you'll like Excalibur a lot.
Good.
She's done a really good job.
Very happy to hear it. Yeah. And somehow Apocalypse is in there, but I think that's probably the Kid Apocalypse more than likely.
No, Apocalypse is a homie now. They're all on the island hanging out, man.
He's part of the governing council.
Oh boy.
But I'll tell you that book is House of X is just phenomenal. It was insanely well written.
We've been raving about that. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Page 101. So Avengers, the epic. I love these epic collections. They do full color reprints of key arcs or eras in for various titles. So if you really if you're grooving on Mantis in the Guardians of the Galaxy films, get a sense of where the character came from. This goes to the classic Bronze Age period, Avengers 98 to 114, and also, of course, features her relationship with the Swordsman.
Mm-hmm.
So this is classic Bronze Age Avengers stories right there.
Nice. Yep.
And the next page, what else needs to be said on page
Yes.
102?
Heroes for Hire, baby.
This is just an evergreen for me. I mean, they've done this before, but come on, it's Power Man and Iron Fist. 48 to 40, and then Power Man and Iron Fist. Power Man, because Iron Fist first appeared in Power Man, then it moved over to Power Man and Iron Fist issues 50 through 70. Just fantastic. Great stuff. You got the kung fu genre, the blaxploitation genre. You got the Daughters of the Dragon. It's so much. And again, Joe Duffy, one of the most very underrated writers. She did great work with these characters.
Yep. Yeah, and the epic collections continue to be a great way to read a lot for cheap, as you're getting 448 pages of story here for the going rate of 40
before any discounts are applied. Yeah.
Exactly, before any discounts are applied, and that's really well done.
Man, they got some great reprints in this month.
Yep, we got Morbius. We got the Wolverine Epic Collection, which does the whole Madripoor stuff, which is some of the best stuff. Oh my God, Claremont and
it's got John Buscema artwork.
Yes.
Are these epic collections in full color, or are they black and white?
Yes, they're in full color.
Oh,
yeah.
Good. Oh, that's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Then on page 106, Avengers Epic Collection: The Final Threat. That's Avengers 150 to 166. Does that include the Korvac story?
Good question.
I don't. Maybe no. I guess not.
Yeah, they don't mention Korvac in the
But you've got the Thanos confrontation, the Return of Wonder Man, because the Thanos stories that's from Marvel 2-1 Annual 2 and one of the Avengers annuals. That's great stuff. So that's
and this was Yellow Jacket era. So.
Oh, Hank.
And
if you're interested in Squadron Supreme.
Yep.
Because I know they're going to be getting some play coming forward. Here's the original story by the great Mark Grunwald.
Oh yeah.
I met Mark a long time ago. It was when he was writing Captain America, and it was when Steve walked away from being Captain America.
Oh yeah.
And so I got books signed by him, and he was just like, we started talking about Captain America, and I think I was maybe like 12, and he's like, and this may have seemed weird in any other era, but he's like, come sit down and talk to me. And we just sat and talked for an hour. Just a 12-year-old
that was
me
his,
and
that
Mark
was his
Grunwald.
reputation, though. That was his reputation.
That's such a nice dude.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and the fact that his ashes were mixed into the first printing of this Squadron Supreme trade, just says a lot about the guy, and that comics were his life.
Yeah. And to piggyback on what Dave was talking about, if you love Captain America, you've ever read the Grunwald run. That's a really important period in the whole history of the character. Like the Scourge and John Walker, all that stuff. It's essential reading.
Yep.
Yeah. Especially now with that show coming out.
Right now, Chris.
Yep. What's that, Mert?
Jamie D is shaking his head at you.
I know he is, and I was thinking that, but we can still do Loving Battle.
I'll actually be on your side of that battle, Chris, because I used to needle Jamie about his distaste for and my love of the Grunwald Cap run.
Yep.
All right, gentlemen, I gotta go because I gotta get up early and talk to kids on a computer screen.
All right, sir. Sounds good. And
we'll good to see you, Chris.
Dave, it's been wonderful to have you on the show. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, buddy. I actually have to go too. That's a good segue. My wife has cooked dinner and it's wafting in here, and it would be
there you
rude
go.
for me not to go eat her dinner.
Before you head out, Dave, make sure to give everybody your social media and all that jazz.
Oh, it's super easy. It's just at Dave Dwonch. I'm really lazy. Really lazy at Dave Dwonch. I'm no chip. That's what I'm saying. I've got a chip on my shoulder. That guy. Yeah, boy. But dude, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. And let's catch up like more often than not. I mean,
yes, absolutely.
I'm still trapped in my office for the foreseeable future. I'll be right here. Okay.
That sounds good, man. And be well. And like you said, keep in touch. We'll talk soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Adam, I love you.
Thanks for being here and spicing things up for us tonight, Dave.
All right, baby. I'll talk to you soon.
Take care.
Later.
All right.
Actually, last thing I wanted to point out, Ian, before I depart.
Oh, sure.
And I apologize, but
no worries.
The schoolmaster is a merciless mistress, so to speak. I want to point out what Terry Moore has in Abstract Studios.
There you go.
Because I got issue 1, I haven't read it yet, which is his book. I think it's called Serial.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I don't have the page number. I apologize. I don't have the page number right in front of me.
It's 190.
I found it actually. Yeah, it's it's 198. Yep.
It sounds like the Zoe character, who we will recognize from other corners of the Moore universe, or the Mooreverse, is going to go on the warp path here, or some kind of serial killer that she's pursuing. But I don't want to give away too much about this character, because if you haven't read the other Terry Moore stuff, like Rachel Rising and what was the book you just finished? I'm failing terribly here. I apologize. What was the big miniseries he just did? Terry Moore, that brought all his characters together.
Yeah, it's not hitting on me because I haven't read a lot of Terry Moore, but
failing miserably. I apologize to the audience, but again, what I'm enjoying is how he's taking all of his characters, starting with Strangers in Paradise, and he's bringing them all into overlapping these different stories, and one of the great living masters of the medium. So when we have our next comic talk, I'll have read Serial 1. I'll give a field report on that as well.
Excellent.
So, all right, gentlemen, I'll leave the remainder of the book in your capable hands, as I must prepare for whatever modern American education is right now. So.
Sounds good. And we'll talk next week. And I have to send an email out so we can figure out for sure that we are doing what we think we're doing next week.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, brothers. Have a good night. I'll talk to you both soon.
All right. Sounds good.
Good night, gentlemen.
Farewell, brother.
Thanks, brother.
Hey, Murd, guess what? We're back.
Ian, what do you think the going rate is on golden lassos of truth? We need something unbreakable to bind our castmates to their microphones.
Right.
So that they can... Do they not want to play with us anymore? I don't know.
I know. Well, look, I think it's just the daunting task of scrolling through this damn book at the end. It's just immediately like oh crap, gotta do that. All right, I'll see you later. Bye. Oh. Did I hear the dinner bell? Did I hear the phone call and the dinner bell at the same time?
I left an ice cream cake in my car.
Well, that's all right. We're strong enough, and we are strong. We are going to be able to do this, and we'll finish it out and make it happen.
That's right. We have the stamina. We are the Iron Men of CGS.
Yes, we are indeed, and we are in Dynamite right now. And I can safely say that I have nothing to talk about in Dynamite. But if you have anything, please let me know.
Priests, Vampirella, and the 2 Superpowers miniseries that Abnett is writing. That's pretty much it for me.
Yep, and that is the most oh my god, like that is like not even subtle on sexuality there on page 144's cover for Vampirella number 20.
Probably not the variant that I'm going to choose to order.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Actually, you know what? How about page 146? Speaking of new and interesting things, the art of Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow.
Yep, because there's nothing more new and interesting than 1930s diesel punk.
Exactly. It's written by Kevin Conran with art by Kevin Conran. It's the 2004, there was a movie. It was all right. But this is the real story behind the film that began many years earlier. And in Kevin Conrad's art of Sky Captain and World of Tomorrow, fans will be treated to behind-the-scenes stories marking the movie's unique journey to the screen. Not a great movie itself, but absolutely a gorgeous movie. And that's why, seeing the art behind it will probably be a very nice thing to see.
Yep. Haven't seen it myself, but I know it does have a certain cult following. So
yes, it does. Yep.
I'm perfectly willing to believe that it looks better than it is story-wise.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yep. Oh, and meanwhile, the art of Goosebumps is also a thing that exists. But I loved these covers when I was a kid.
It's just a little bit after my time, I'm afraid. Yeah, it hadn't made its way to the scholastic school book fairs by the time I moved on to junior high.
Fair enough. You wanted to mention Vampirella, the Dark Powers, just in passing, or was that the other one?
That's one of the two Abnett superpower series. That and Red Sonja, the superpowers.
Got it. Yep. Okie dokie. Onward to the boom, I believe.
All right. To the boom.
Mm-hmm. How about starting on page 166, The Many Deaths of Layla Starr.
Mhm.
New series by Wipdev and the Dreamings, Ram V or Ram the Fifth, whatever the hell you want to call him, with illustrated by Felipe Andrade. And this looks gorgeous. It's a new series that explores the fine line between living and dying in Mumbai through the lens of magical realism. With humanity on the verge of discovering immortality, the avatar of death is fired and relegated to the world below to live out her now finite days in the body of 20-something Layla Starr in Mumbai. This sounds straight out of Vertigo 1998. But I mean that in a good. But I mean that in a good way.
Yeah, it kind of does. Yeah, just like gritty street level realism crossed with mythology and fantasy.
Yep.
You know, if you're a fan of Vedic mythology, I mean, it sounds like. I mean, this talking about your '90s Vertigo. This is death incarnated and walking among human beings.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Although it's not quite the Gaiman take on death, and that this is, to paraphrase Milton, death, she shall die.
Yes, indeed. Yep.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what would go through the mind of a death avatar after discovering that she's, the shroud is now on the other face, as it were.
Yeah. Good question, and I really appreciate the character designs. That they published a few pages of the renderings of what the characters are going to look like, and the very interesting, unique looks and perspectives to them. And then on page 170, if you had told me it was in the Buffyverse, I would believe you. But it's not, for the looks of it. It's just called Magic #1, written by Jed McKay, illustrated by Ig Guara. And it's a new beginning for the pop culture phenomenon of magic starts here. So yeah, this is the magic from the sounds of things. It's Magic the Gathering.
Wizards of the Coast, that magic.
Yeah, I didn't realize that myself until I read further. But yes, this is sort of a modern retelling of, or modern restart of the whole Magic the Gathering thing in comic book form. So.
Being written by Jed McKay, who also has been writing the Black Cat series at Marvel and the Taskmaster miniseries.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and art by the artist of Ghost Spider over at Marvel.
Yep, well, I believe I nominated Mr. McKay for Breakthrough Talent of 2019, so he continues to just roll along with these projects of his.
What's that? It's later on in the episode, and I'm yet again saying best of at comicgeekspeak.com for all your submissions. Why, yes, I am, actually. So go ahead and do that. In case you're one of those guys who doesn't listen to the beginning or the end, I just snuck it in there in the middle of a preview, so now you're hearing it.
Vote early, vote once.
Yes, exactly. Only once. We will only count one. Don't see anything else at the moment. I'm laughing at the fact that there's a Mega Man comic coming out on page 179, and there's something about seeing Mega Man in a style anything other than Japanese that just does not work for me. And the cover to this by Tony Infante, I can understand what he's going for, but making Mega Man look too real just doesn't ever really jive.
Yep,
so
I get you.
I don't dig it.
Yeah, well, yeah. This is a trade for a mini series that they just listed, and basically for the reasons you just described, I decided not to buy said mini series.
Kind of reminds me slightly of Larry Stroman's artwork, especially in the face, and not what I'm looking for in my Mega Man. Sorry. Okay, got the hardcover for Jim Henson's Labyrinth Under the Spell, which we mentioned previously. It collects Jim Henson's Labyrinth Under the Spell #1 and Jim Henson's Labyrinth Masquerade #1 in one package here. 112 pages of content for only $25 on sale June 2nd. So a advanced solicitation yet again on page 186. Written by Various, drawn by Various, and it reminds me of the Babe.
What babe?
The Babe with the power.
What power?
I'm not going anymore.
Yeah. It's Jamie D is chuckling over that one.
Oh yeah. A friend of mine is very much into Labyrinth and just had a baby, and I got her the picture book edition of Labyrinth to share with her child when the baby's old enough.
Yeah, kid's not named Toby, is it?
No, it is not. James Tynion IV, the first trade of his The Flight of the Prince is solicited as well on page 188. Once again, we have mentioned it in passing in the past, but this collects issues 1 through 5 of that for only $15. So, should be a decent discount in most places.
Oh, yeah.
DCBS or Amazon to get it down to about 10.
Yep, it's reasonable. It's a nice little 6-inch by 9-inch size there.
Mm-hmm.
Pocket trade.
Indeed. Alrighty, I think that's it for Boom. Onward to the rest of the. And I will start on page 200. Celebrating 5 years of Aftershock, by the way. So mazel tov to Aftershock for hitting that milestone there. And they celebrate with a new book by Colin Bunn, Phantom on the Scan, #1. Art by Mark Torres. I would swear that the Mark Torres cover is channeling a certain Keanu Reeves a little bit.
Sure as hell looks like that to me.
Yeah, and considering that he has official comic books out there now with his likeness on it, but go figure. This tells us about 20 years ago, a comet fell to Earth. Since that night, Matthew has been haunted by a spirit that gives him incredible psychic abilities. These abilities come with a price, don't they all? And payment is due. Every time Matthew uses his gifts, he draws closer to death, and other psychics, all of whom gained their powers on the night the comet fell, are dying in the most horrible of ways. To save himself, Matthew gathers a group of psychics to solve the mystery of their powers before it's too late. Interesting premise. Sounds like it's ripe to be a TV show or a miniseries of some sort. But I'm interested to see where it's going to go. I just it's 100% sounds like something I would find in while scrolling through Netflix randomly and being like, I didn't know that came out. And go figure. I do like the preview artwork as well on the very next page there.
On page 202, we've got a new project from Steve Orlando and artist Patrick Piazzalunga. Project Patron #1.
Mm-hmm.
It asks the question, what if a Superman-type character and his greatest archenemy destroyed one another in battle, and the public was not aware of it, and the United Nations then came up with a duplicate of the Superman type archetype, and from that point onward, as far as the public knows, that the adventures of that character are actually plotted and machinated by the United Nations.
Interesting. I mean, it kind of reminds me of Reign of the Superman, only stealth.
Yeah, stealth and conspiracy.
Yeah. All right. I think that could be a cool premise.
A deep dive into the underside of the superhero mythos as only Steve Orlando can tell it.
It's Voltron meets Superman in some ways, if you want to call it that. I wonder which one forms the leg. And yeah, it is definitely a celebratory month for Aftershock. They also have Girls of Dimension 13 premiering on the very next set of pages on page 204. All about 4 young women who are brought together by a mysterious invitation to live in a creepy building in New York City. That building looks a lot like the Sanctum Sanctorum. I'm sure that is intentional, but it's a nice, spooky New York driven book with a dog too, so you know,
Mhm. For that
fulfilling that part of it.
extra Scooby-Doo element.
Exactly.
Zoinks.
Zoinks! Graham Nolan, Brett Blevins, a favorite of mine on art, and colors by Greg Wright.
Oh, yes, another old-timer.
Yep. Heard too, they're putting out with a adult style Velma animated series soon on HBO Max, I believe.
Hmm.
Yeah, sort of like an Adult Swim take on Velma of Scooby Doo.
Live action or animated?
I think it's going to be animated, and pretty sure Mindy Kaling is voicing Velma.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not a bad choice.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty. I think that's all for Aftershock. Once again, Mazel Tov. As we move forward a little bit further into the book, let's see what we can come across.
Yeah, I kind of hate myself for even mentioning this, but on page 216, under American mythology, also celebrating a 5-year anniversary apparently this month. So, interesting coincidence there. Yeah, American mythology, their MO is pretty similar to Dynamite's, where they just buy up certain licenses and bleed them dry for as long as they last and then move on to the next host, as it were. And only they go for the lowest rent, mustiest licenses they can get their hands on, it seems. Because here they are bringing back not just the Three Stooges. They published straight Three Stooge comics in the past too, but this is the barely remembered Hanna-Barbera Stooges as cyborg superheroes concept from the 70s, the Robonic Stooges. And they're bringing that back to comics.
Okay.
But they're doing an Infinity Gauntlet parody called the Imbecile Gauntlet. So I'm almost as bad as Peter with his compulsion to buy every Crisis homage cover he sees. But yeah, I'm going to have to pick up Robonic Stooges #1. They got me. Damn you, American mythology, you got me.
I was watching a video on YouTube a couple of days ago about like a very bad aborted attempt to try to like have like not quite a new Stooges, but like about a guy who was so obsessed with the Three Stooges that he started seeing them everywhere, and that a quote unquote pandemic breaks out of like Stoogeism or like some sort of Stooge disease spreads across the country.
Stooge Mania.
Stooge Mania.
Yeah,
thank you. Yes.
Yeah, I've heard of this. This actually got made.
It did.
This dates back to the 80s, I think.
Yep. And it was made because they had the rights to like 4 Stooge shorts and decided to just make a movie around the 4 Stooge shorts. And they just kept showing the same shorts over and over again, sometimes randomly in black and white, sometimes randomly colorized. And it's like the same thing over and over again with a loosely stitched together plot. And it was bad.
Yeah. Sure sounds that way.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okie dokie. A lot of stuff in mid-series this month I'm seeing, because usually I try to jump for the #1s, and while there are some #1s, I'm not seeing a lot.
Yeah, just kind of notice under Archie on page 224, they've come such a long way trying to reinvent the characters and come up to do new contemporary things with them. I can't help but notice that for April of 2021, Archie is publishing nothing but 1 page worth of reprinted material.
Good point. Yeah, I think it might have finally caught up with them. But then again, the like for instance, the Sabrina series, got canceled over at Netflix. So anything that they were doing with that might have just gotten hard stop because now they have to focus on continuing that in one way or another. But I know that that's something that they do want to do is sort of give it like a 5th season in comic book form. So we'll see what happens with that.
Okay, more power to them. It's not that I want to see the new things that they're trying to do go away.
Oh, sure. Yep.
Well, they're on page 230 under Avatar. They're publishing a trade of some Lovecraft-inspired things that Alan Moore had done within the past couple of years with artist Jason Barrows. It's collecting 2 miniseries called The Courtyard and the Neonomicon, respectively. So it's new. It's Lovecraftian horror in a modern vein, starring a couple of federal agents and strange goings on in the harbor town of Innsmouth.
On that very same page of 230, also Alan Moore's writing for comics. So if you want to know more about how Alan Moore writes comics, then this might be for you.
Yep, I picked up a copy of that nearly 20 years ago. I think I might still have been in college at the time.
Nice. Yeah. It says right here, originally written in 1985 and appeared in an obscure British fanzine.
It's been brought back to print several times since.
On page 234, we have volume 2 of J. Michael Straczynski's The Resistance. So it is a number 1. It's just volume 2. So anybody who checked out volume 1 and wanted more, well, you're getting it now. Page 234.
Yep. It's just good to know that JMS is still out there kicking in comics.
Yes, he is. They are telling us to save the date for Free Comic Book Day, and I will share that with the listeners. Anybody who's not seeing my screen right now, the official date for Free Comic Book Day in 2021 is August 14th. So it will be a summer Free Comic Book Day this time around, August 14th, celebrating 20 years of Free Comic Book Day.
Well, fingers crossed.
Yep. Yeah, it's ambitious, but here's hoping that by August it'll be able to be pulled off in most places.
And we got to mention page 241, don't we?
We sure as heck do. Yep, because especially since I'm putting Jamal Eigel's through the ringer by making him watch a certain Zack Snyder cut of Justice League for comic timing. Yes, Kwanzaa and Jamal are back for White number 1. The team that asks, what if only Black people had superpowers, is back with the sequel to the critically acclaimed series Black. It's been 3 years since the world learned only Black people have superhuman abilities, and the United States has responded by electing Theodore Mann to the presidency. The only person standing in the way of his policies to control empowered Blacks are Kareem Jenkins and his allies.
Theodore Mann.
Yep.
The man.
Exactly.
Yep. I'm going to love to see some Jamal artwork on that. And the story looks like it's going to be even more bitingly political than Black was. So,
yes,
definitely. I am in for that.
Yep. I have dubbed 2021 the year of Eigel, by the way, since he's back over at DC. He's got his other Earth stuff, and now we've got White here. So there we go.
There you go. The Eigel has landed.
Yes, it has.
Yeah.
Offered again for anybody who missed it the first time around, Kevin Eastman's Totally Twisted Tales on page 248. You want to see what one of the creators of the Turtles is up to these days? It's a one-shot graphic novella, and Eastman is all over that with Simon Beasley, and with 3 full-length stories featuring guys, girls, monsters, mutants, superheroes, slackers, and lowlifes. And that sounds like fun to me.
As well as one very fast rat.
Yeah. I don't think they're talking about Master Splinter.
Speedy Gonzalez, maybe?
Epa, ándale.
Ándale pronto.
Let's see. Nothing new in Star Wars land. Drawn in quarterly. Oh, okay. How about this? On page 259, something for the kids. Before they were artists, famous illustrators as kids. The graphic novel written by Elizabeth Handel. What makes an artist? What sparks their imagination? Where do their creativity and unique style come from? Striking illustrations and a graphic novel format bring to life the anthology of legendary artists and their childhoods, featuring beloved artists such as Wanda Gag, Maurice Sendak, Tove Johnson, Jerry Pinkski, and more, including Hayao Miyazaki. And these stories capture the childhood triumphs, failures, and inspirations that predated their careers.
Yeah, something good to give to a child who likes to draw.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. That's out of Etch on page 259.
Then on page 263, we've got a new edition of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein with Bernie Wrightson illustrations dating back to 1983.
Oh, wow. Nice to see that back around.
Yep. Not true comics, mind you. It's just Mary Shelley's original prose novel, Frankenstein, but it's got Bernie Wrightson art to go with it. So,
And that is a sight to behold.
yep, always.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Frankenstein, actually on page 268, something new from the mind of Paul Cornell.
Ah, that's my boy.
Yep, from Heavy Metal. Paul Cornell writing, Emma Viacelli doing the art. It's a modern reimagination of the Frankenstein story. It's kind of a love story, actually. Renegade medical student James Frankenstein and his fellow med student Elizabeth Kieve. And it's the story of their, I guess, how they violate the laws of nature while at the same time exploring their love for one another or something like that. But it's Paul Cornell is writing it, so
Yeah, it's Paul Cornell. It's a modern take on Frankenstein. You had me at that. Absolutely. Yeah, no. Anything Paul Cornell I'm willing to check out, and this seems like it's well up my alley.
a twisted horror romance that walks a fine line between attraction and fear.
In, baby, in. 268, and you said it was under Heavy Metal, correct?
Right. It's a
All right.
featured item.
Nice.
And on the facing page, there's a spotlight on a miniseries from Hero Tomorrow Comics. This had been solicited a while ago. This is a spin-off of Apama, the Undiscovered Animal, which is this weird, wild, wonky, and wonderful sort of independent superhero story. Harkening back to the early wild days of Marvel. It's about a guy who discovers he performs a strange gesture foretold in a scroll he finds somewhere, which gives him the powers of a legendary animal that, it won a mythological battle with all the other animals in the world, and the prize it claimed was anonymity, that no one in the world would ever know it existed. And so he gained the proportionate strength, speed, and whatever else that this mythical animal had. And I think his adventures were set in, it was either Cleveland or Cincinnati. I'm not sure which city in Ohio it was. But anyway, one of his adventures, he met kind of a psychedelic shamaness, like a female psychedelic priestess of sorts. And this Bloom miniseries here on page 269 is the origin story of this character. And it's set back in the counterculture revolution of the late 60s.
It certainly seems nice and psychedelic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I kind of love the visuals here on 272.
Mm-hmm.
MPLS Sound, written by Joseph Illage and Hannibal Taboo, and art by Meredith Laxton. Teresa Booker was hardly the first singer-songwriter to be inspired by his royal badness, but she was the most determined. Minneapolis, 1982, dozens of young bands playing day and night in bars and clubs around the city dream of being noticed by the musical genius Prince, revered as a guru and a power broker. But when Teresa and her band Starchild are often the opportunity of a lifetime to be taken in and mentored by their idol, they soon find that there's a dark side to fame and fortune that could turn their dream into a nightmare. It's the ultimate love letter to legendary Minneapolis funk rock sound of the 80s. I love me some Prince, and I love me that style. So this seems very much something that I will check out on page 272.
Yeah, the art reminds me a little of Jamie McKelvey.
Very good point. Yes. Yeah. Well rendered faces.
Yep. So any of you out there who are fans of the Purple One or the Minneapolis scene of the early 80s, now here's comics for you.
Yeah. It's a pretty damn good Prince rendering as well. Looks just like him.
And page 281 sees the return to the world of comics publishing of a Golden Age classic publisher, Lev Gleason, and his flagship characters Silver Streak and also Daredevil, the Golden Age Daredevil, mind you, Bart Hill.
Ah.
Yeah, the guy with the symmetrical red and blue suit and the cool boomerangs. Yeah, so there's a Silver Streak in Lev Gleason Presents #1 at the top of page 281. It's a story by Keith Champagne and various. Because Daredevil, Golden Age Daredevil, first appeared in Silver Streak's comic book. And here he is. He's back. And at the bottom of that same page, it's an original pulp-style novel of the Golden Age Daredevil set in 1941, written by D.K. Latta.
Nice to see old characters coming back in one form or another. Especially since these ones, they're in the public domain because I've seen them all over the places. Yep.
Last time we saw Golden Age of Daredevil, it was over at Dynamite, and Gail Simone had written a miniseries about him.
Yes. Not too long ago, too, if I remember correctly.
Yep, I think it was just last year.
Let's see. Okay. Let's head over to 283 and Villainous. Tilly, one of the newest superpowered humans to join the coalition of heroes, is doing her best to navigate the dizzying world of superheroes. Working with her idols should be a dream come true, but when she learns the truth, Tilly's dream quickly becomes a nightmare. Now Tilly has to make a choice: get in line and stand with her heroes, or take a stand and risk becoming something more villainous. Contains the first 5 issues of this series by Stoney Williams and Jefferson Sedzinski.
Intriguing concept.
Anything that turns the typical superhero on its head, I am all for.
Yep. What does an idealistic young hero do when her fellow heroes prove to be something less than heroic?
Indeed. And then on 284, something that I could very easily being seen, making it into the Eisners or something along those lines. It's called Hard Melody. It's written and illustrated by Lu Ming. And it's a tale of dreams, brotherhood, and sacrifice, like a noir film and illustration. And that's exactly what it looks like. Just looking at the gorgeous pages that are presented on that very same page. 3 middle-aged friends reunite in Beijing to reflect on their youthful dreams of becoming rock stars if their dreamy adult lives hadn't gotten in the way. And now they seek to turn their disillusionment into purpose with plans of one more gig to show the world what they are capable of. This looks amazing. And God, do I love that art.
Yeah.
It's Magnetic Press on 285.
Art looks wonderful, and the stories sounds like a good idea, too. It's rock and roll dreams, Beijing style.
Yes, indeed. And how about there on the very next page, Alison Bechdel. Immediately, my brain gets happy whenever I see Alison Bechdel doing anything. And this is The Secret to Superhuman Strength by Alison Bechdel. delivers a deeply layered story of her fascination from childhood to adulthood with every fitness craze to come down the pike, from Jack LaLanne in the 60s to the existential oddness of present-day spin class. As somebody who very much needs to work out and get rid of the COVID-15,
Uh,
this is very much something that I might need to check out.
the COVID-15.
Yeah.
I like it.
Thank you. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, obviously, Alison Bechdel has, graded everything that she puts her mind to. And this just seems like it's going to be another gem.
Yep. She's adept at exploring, in graphic memoirs, her relationships with various people in her life. We've seen her relationship with her dad in Fun Home and with her mom in Are You My Mother? I guess this is going to be her relationship with her own body and
Yeah.
her attempts to whip it into shape over the years.
Yep. All right. And I am quickly approaching Manga Land, but we get to talk about something that Chris usually talks about. So-
One note before you do that, though.
Sure.
One thing under Oni for me on page 294, Kaiju Max Season 6, number 1. And it says here, it's the end of everything, final season. So it's essentially going to be a 36-issue miniseries when all is said and done.
Oh, wow.
Six-issue miniseries, six-issue seasons. And so this is the work of writer and artist Xander Cannon, and it's basically the long unfolding story of a super maximum prison for giant Japanese monsters. It's a Kaiju Max. And the interesting interactions between it's basically the HBO drama Oz set on Monster Island.
Okay. That's intriguing.
Yep, it's been a lot of dark widescreen fun over the past several years, and haven't missed an issue yet, and certainly going to pick up these last 6 as they're published throughout 2021.
Very good. Very good.
All right, so now on to tomorrow's, I assume?
Yeah, that's where I was heading. Unless something in between catches your eye.
I don't think it will, Ian. Go right ahead. I'm just turning directly to that page.
Alrighty, and I am scrolling directly to that page once I actually get there, because there's a lot of Titan stuff. All right, here we go. All right, so this month over at Back Issue, it is all Sergeant Rock and a bunch of other generals, for that matter, as we get General Thunderbolt Ross, Beetle Bailey in comics, DC's Enemy starring Blitzkrieg, War is Hell's Combat Deadman John Kowalski, Atlas's the Nam, Nth Man, the Ultimate Ninja, and Conway and Luis Garcia Lopez's Cinder and Ash, all featured here. This seems like a really cool back issue. All featuring stuff that I'm not really that familiar with, to be honest, because war comics are not my bag. So this might be a way for me to get into it, one way or another.
Yep, they're not really my bag either, Ian. Except for that crucial GI Combat issue, which featured the first appearance of the Monitor on panel.
Oh wow! Yep. of all books too.
Right.
But yeah, that's tomorrow's, and on page 316 there, and they're offering again Alter Ego 166, which is all Fawcett. So if you didn't catch that the first time around, then you might want to check that out as well on Alter Ego number 166.
All right, I will be there.
Mm-hmm.
Valiant giving us something to mention for the first time in a while. On page 320, they're finally going to publish this new Cullen Bunn take on Shadow Man, with art by John Davis Hunt. I've always appreciated Jack Boniface, going all the way back to the 90s. And so I usually check out at least the first couple issues of any new take on him, and this will certainly be no exception now that Cullen Bunn is in the driver's seat.
Yep, and this is we've got 2 Cullen Buns in the oven this month. There's two Cullen Buns, 2 Cullen Bun number 1s solicited in the same month. Go figure.
Tons of fun.
Mm-hmm. And I am heading to manga, methinks. But there might be one or two things in between, but we shall see. Mhm. The answer is no, so manga it is.
All right.
Okay. All right, let's start off with a brand new series on page 343 from the folks over at Vertical Publishing via Kodansha. A School Frozen in Time, Volume 1, from two-star creators Naoshi Arawakawa from Your Lie in April, and award-winning writer Mizuki Suzumura of Anime Supremacy, comes a psychological horror story filled with twists, turns, and hard truths about the lives of high school students and the pressures they face in modern society. From the description, you wouldn't think horror story, but then again, sometimes high school can be. So I'm wondering if there's actually a horror bent on this, or if it is just high school.
Well, I think you've answered your own question.
Exactly. Yeah. So that may just have to have me check it out one way or the other anyway. So yeah, School Frozen in Time, Volume 1 on page 343. And you'll be able to find that out yourself. We mentioned Frankenstein like 900 times, so we might as well also mention Manga Classics Frankenstein on 344, because why the heck not? If you want a manga version of Frankenstein, it exists.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and there's also a Dracula.
Yes, indeed. Well, these are new printings. They've existed before, but they're available again.
Oh, here's something from Tokyo Pop. Yeah, apparently they're launching a new Nightmare Before Christmas manga-styled series. This is on page 346. Written by Mallory Reeves, art by Gabriella Chianello, and it's called Nightmare Before Christmas Mirror Moon, and it's spinning right out of the Zero's Journey maxi series, which I would like to read and trade. They solicited like a big omnibus kind of collection of the whole thing a little while ago, but then canceled it, so kind of at loose ends there for the moment, and I'd like to read that before I jump into this. But apparently it's going to explore more of, and this is something that's tantalized me ever since the fall of 1993, as doubtless it has you and lots of other people, Ian. What the hell is behind all those other doors in the tree trunks, in that mysterious grove in the world of holidays? What does Thanksgiving Town look like, or St. Patrick's Day Land? I think Zero's Journey was all about exploring those worlds and expanding the mythology, as it were. And this Mirror Moon thing, I guess, is supposed to play off of that and show what chaos ensues when Jack Skellington tries to bring the joy of Halloween to all the other worlds behind all those other doors.
Oh, wow. I'm actually immediately thinking of the Wreck-It Ralph sequel. When they hit the World Wide Web and like all the different worlds they're able to branch, like this is endless here.
I still haven't seen Ralph Breaks the Internet. But
you'd enjoy it. I think.
I'm sure.
Yeah, it's. I'm trying to think of a good way to describe it. It's a little bit more grounded than the original, and in a very good way, because I think they focus mainly on the relationship between Ralph and Vanellope, and that adds to it a lot more.
Yeah, so it's not so much worrying about saving the day from King Candy and all of that. It's just like a road picture, a buddy comedy of those two.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, they are trying to get back to their, home, arcade eventually, but that's like secondary to the plot for the most part. They're in the internet, they're going about their adventures and, basically trying to figure each other out in certain ways. So really well done.
Okay. I think I'll have to pick that up on DVD soon.
Or now that you have Disney Plus.
Yes, I have Disney Plus, but the Disney Plus connection is at my parents' house, and anything I watch over there, I basically have to make them sit through. So my options are basically wait until we go to Stone Harbor when I can set up my own Disney Plus connection at another TV in that house.
Indeed.
So that I don't have to subject my poor parents to hold them hostage to my taste in entertainment. Or B, I could just go to Target tomorrow and buy the DVD. I think
that is very much your options. Yes. Either way, it's a good one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you for the recommendation, Ian.
My pleasure. Alrighty, and let's see. I'll try to finish us out with one more interesting thing if I could find it. You know what? Why not? This is a one-shot on page 350. It's called like Two Peas in a Pod. It began with a mistake. When Tanaka and Nakata are given each other's papers back, they come to a horrible realization. They have almost identical names, and test results, and body types, and taste in fashion, and sports scores, and hobbies. The list goes on, and as annoying as it is, at least they know they always have each other. And maybe, just maybe, their similarities run even deeper. Okay.
Maybe just it's maybe shading towards definitely, I'd say.
Yeah, exactly.
Not being all that subtle about it.
No, they are not. 350 seems like a cool premise, and I'm immediately reminded of when I was growing up. I had a Katie Alvarado and a Catherine Maldonado in the same class, so that was that was hard enough to keep separate in my brain, and it's always funny when things like that happen.
And were the Katie and Kathy in your class friends?
They were, and yeah, oftentimes teachers would get them wrong because even though they looked nothing alike, their names were similar. So go figure. All right, page 259 is where I will end it. It's a Viz Media love sickness. All about Ryosuke returns to the town he once lived in, where rumors are swirling about girls killing themselves after encountering a bewitchingly handsome young man harboring his own secret from time spent in this town. Ryosuke attempts to capture the beautiful boy and close the case, but that's where love sickness brings us. Seems like a very cool mystery story, and the artwork itself is also very, very pretty, and created by Junji Ito. And he's done some other stuff before. He also worked on Frankenstein and Shiver and Smashed over in Manga Land. So 59.
Yep. Looks like a quality horror concept to me.
Mm-hmm. And that's it for me. You got anything else?
I will actually spotlight one thing on the opposite end of the book.
Boy, oh boy.
Merchandise pages.
Merchandising, baby.
Merchandising. Yeah. It's page 17M. This is not something that I in any way intend to buy, but I just want to give a shout out to Scotty Young for his draftsmanship and design sense. I love this little Gamora statue he's designed on this page. Yep, you just got there.
Oh my God, yes.
Little bossy pants Gamora, the bossiest woman in the universe.
That is beautiful.
Love the personality Scotty brings to this. Only thing I'd change would be yellow ovals around the eyes.
Yeah, that would add an extra level to it. And oh God, I just went to the next page and that lizard. Oh, I have no room for these things. I have no room for these things. Not even you, Zuko. I can't get you either. And you're a beautiful diorama. It's not happening.
Yes, perhaps it's best that we draw the veil of obscurity over the rest of that side of the catalog's contents.
Indeed.
Lest we fall into temptation.
Oh, no. And we don't want to do that. No, of course not. No. Take our money. But yeah, no, this has been a good as usual romp through the previous catalog, and we thank you guys for sticking with us. A longer than usual one, but for many good reasons, most of which related to Mr. Dave Dwonch. And we thank him yet again for joining us for the bulk of the episode here, and then running scared the minute that we got to the end of the book.
Yeah.
So it goes.
That's what they all do.
Yep.
But Dave is good people, and it's he just enhances the flavor of everything he touches, and I'm glad that we had him on this episode for as long as we did. And I'm definitely going to pick up Jenny Zero. I wish him luck with his Kickstarter and everything else that he does.
100%. Yep. And he is one of the nicest guys in the business, period. As you very much learned, we have very similar corny senses of humor. And I can't wait to see whatever comes out next for him, and definitely got to support him anywhere he goes. So very much.
And he is part of that rare fraternity of murd illustrators. adapted me to comics. I wanted to tell him this while he was still on the line, but I have in my apartment, semi-prominently displayed, a rare collectible trading card that was made of one of the panels of art that he did featuring me. It's me buck naked standing up out of a hot tub, and the expression of sheer consumer satisfaction on the face of the young woman sitting in the hot tub opposite me, getting a face full of full frontal murdity, is just...
Okay, that's it. Full frontal murdity is officially the term of this episode. That is amazing.
Get that thing on a t-shirt. The phrase, not the thing, the panel.
Yeah. We get it. Yeah. If we ever do wind up printing more Comic Geek Speak t-shirts at any point for delivery, I think that full frontal murdity will have to be one of those statements. Yes.
Make the short list.
Excellent. Job well done. And before we head to the usual Shane portion of today, once again, a reminder, patreon.com/comicgeekspeak is where we live these days. Donation wise, we thank you very much for your support. And if you want to continue the growth of the show, that is the way to do it. Patreon.com/comicgeekspeak. All 93 patrons, you are our favorite human beings, and we love you. And also patreon.com/comic timing if you want to support any of my stuff. I am literally about to put out the first episode that I've going to go quote unquote exclusive to the Patreon. It'll be available on the feed 5 days later, I've decided, but it'll be on the Comic Timing feed. I got together with Chris on President's Day and had an in-person podcast. This happened. And Chris and I just talked about a whole bunch of stuff, including WandaVision and Wonder Woman 84 and a bunch of other stuff that was on our minds. And you can check that out at patreon.com/comic timing and soon to be on the comictiming.net page as well.
Bravo.
Yep. Alrighty, Murd. And now the floor is yours. Once the music gets back to where it is supposed to be, here we are. And it is put it up accordingly. There we are. And I hit the end credits like this. And now it is over to you.
If you'd like to send us an email, our address is comicgeekspeak@gmail.com. If you'd like to leave a voicemail, you can call 267-702-6642. You can like us on Facebook. You can also visit our Comic Geek Speak supergroup on Facebook for fun, geeky discussions there with your fellow CGS listeners and friends of the show. You can follow us on Twitter, where our handle is @ComicGeekSpeak. You can still visit thecomicforums.vanillacommunity.com, which is our official online forum, to do all the same stuff you can do at our Facebook group. You can email your nominations for the Best of 2020 awards to bestof@comicgeekspeak.com. Please do. The more the merrier. The more who participate, the richer the reward to everyone who listens to the final show. We'd like to give special thanks, as always, to those of you who have donated monetarily to the show, either recently or in the distant past, via Patreon, PayPal, cash in a birthday card, you name it. We truly appreciate it, and the show would not be what it is today without your abiding assistance. And as always, we are uniting the world's mightiest heroes, one listener at a time.
Tip your waitress, try the veal.